Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are finishing off the Declutter series and we are going through the eyeshadow palette collection, which is pretty extensive. It is one of my main focal points in my collection. I just love what you can do with a beautiful eyeshadow palette, and you can be neutral or colorful, bold, bright. So I love what an eyeshadow palette can do. Now, I'm really surprised at how many I got rid of. Now you guys, if you love declutters and you've missed any in this series, there is a playlist. It is linked down below. You can go and check out not just of this year's declutter series, but starting out on my channel when I did my first one back in 2021. There are some longer ones. I think the longest one is about 2.5 hours, as well as some shorter, quick paced declutters. So definitely go check those out if that is something that you're into. I also ask that you not request any of the used makeup. I am not giving anything away for free. Instead, I am using one of my subscribers' suggestions, and this was on one of my previous declutters. And I had never done this before, but I have started to post some of the gently used eyeshadow palettes on my Poshmark. I will link that down below if you're interested in looking at any of those palettes or acquiring them into your collection. I did also set a couple aside for friends who I knew would enjoy them, but there are going to be some posted for sale. So definitely go check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Now you guys, before we jump into this video, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the bell for notifications of new videos, and if you like this video, make sure to hit a big thumbs up. But if you want to see what stayed in my collection, as well as some swatches of my eyeshadow palettes, just keep watching. Okay, you guys, there are lots of palettes. Now, we gotta go through all of them. The first one I'm gonna start with, and I'm probably not getting rid of this one. This is the Marc Jacobs Electric. And Marc Jacobs is no longer a beauty brand, but this eyeshadow palette is absolutely stunning. It is one of my favorites. I want to swatch some of the shades in each of the palettes. So you have pale, tan, brown, you have a black, which I love when palettes have a brown and a black so you can just kind of deepen it up and smoke it out. This palette has 3 shimmers and they're absolutely stunning. And it is the only Marc Jacobs palette I have, but look at how beautiful those shades are. So you shouldn't be surprised that this is staying in the collection. Now we have Anastasia Beverly Hills. And it looks really close because they are double stacked right now. This one is the Fall Romance palette. So cute. It has kind of like that purpley suede, like velvety packaging. The color story is absolutely beautiful. I love the shades that are in here. Very much perfect for fall. Some of the shimmers though, kind of like remind me of other palettes that just got released from ABH. So there is the Cosmos palette, which is really pretty. This shade, was it Couture? Reminds me of the shade Crown. All right, so this one is Crown and this one is Couture. They are like so similar. This one is more gold. This one's a little more pale. That's the only difference I see besides the fact that they have green tones and shifts. But why? And I think they were released back to back. So I think Cosmos came out first and then the Fall Romance. Did we really need those 2 similar shades? That's just me. That's my take on this. But both of these palettes are very beautiful. I love the shimmers in Cosmos. I do have videos where I swatched all of the shades. So if you're interested in seeing some of the swatches for the full palettes, definitely go check those out. The ones that I don't have full swatches for, I'm going to definitely like swatch and compare. I do know that I'm going to keep both of these palettes. This one is the Nouveau palette from ABH. When I got this, so this one Isle is kind of shattered. And then these 2, Lily and Hope, were absolutely smashed to smithereens. This wasn't the first palette I received. It was just the last one that they sent to me because the first one had so many that were smashed that they replaced it. The shades are really pretty. I do like Fleur and Liberty. They're just kind of like the grungy, I mean, you've got a mauve pink and then you've got a grungy green. Beautiful purple with the wisteria. This I feel like is a good palette for like spring, summer. So I'm gonna keep this one. We've got Rose Metals. And I don't normally keep the plastic sleeves, but this one also had a smashed eyeshadow, which was Rose Fire, that coppery shade. Absolutely smashed. But I do like these for like fall. You've got Noble, Dune, and Ashes, which are really pretty fall shades. And then you've got the beautiful fall inspired shimmers. So buttery smooth and beautiful. The Subculture palette, I wasn't sure if I was gonna keep this one. I haven't really used it. I do want to play around with it. It is also no longer available from ABH. They had some scandal when this palette was released, and I actually picked mine up from TJ Maxx. Definitely a fall vibes type of palette for me. And then you have Electric, which is very much like Cuissar and I can't remember the other shade from the Cosmos and Fall Romantic. So it looks like they're taking these shades and putting them back in other palettes in case you loved the Subculture palette. I do need to play around with this. I know it was a big thing when it was like the kick up and the dust. That's not a big deal for me. I'm gonna keep it however. We have the Jackie Aina. Look at this palette. It's so beautiful. The packaging, just kind of like a rainbow-esque. Color story is beautiful. You have some of like the grungy ginger and edges and credit, kind of like the grungy shades if you wanted. And then you've got more of the feminine, like pinkies and purples. The shimmers are absolutely stunning. This one is, what is it, Zam, Shookington, and Sponsored. Ooh, look at those shimmers. So beautiful. I need to play around with this palette, but I am going to keep it in the collection. Sultry, the packaging. Look at this. It's so sparkly and beautiful. I love the chocolatey brown glitter. Some of it is starting to come off, but that is also because it gets lots of wear and tear. I use this quite a bit, especially when I do glam looks. You've got the neutrals, tan, brown, and black. You've got gray. You got a little beige, and then you got a pop of color with Bloom. But then you have some beautiful shimmers with the rose quartz, cyborg if you want silver. You have all the neutral glam shades that you need. So this is definitely one of those staple palettes that I keep in my collection. And to be honest, I don't know that I'm gonna get rid of any of my ABH, only because I absolutely love their palettes and color stories. Riviera, I love this packaging. If you love like nautical, this is definitely like that girl. I also think they discontinued it. I can't remember, I'd have to double check. I love the shades. You have some light neutral shades, pops of colors. The shimmers are beautiful. This one, Mediterranean or Inheritance, which is the yellowy gold. And then you have Seychelles. So beautiful. I got this palette when I wasn't a huge user of like colors and just bright shades, but now I need to reach back into it and play around with it and see what I can come up with. Look at these shimmers. They're just so luscious. The Alyssa Edwards palette, so beautiful. If you need pops of color, and this I think I had before the big square Norvina palettes, which will be coming up here in a second. This color story is absolutely gorgeous, very bold, very beautiful. It doesn't look like I've used this palette, but I need to. This shade DDG and Beyond, and then Inspire. Those shimmers are really pretty. Love that purpley shade. So keeping Alyssa Edwards. Okay, the Amrezy palette, look at the glitter. Absolutely beautiful. This one is a little bit bigger than the Sultry palette, but the shades, So I love having all the neutral mattes and then a pop of color in a matte, but the shimmers is definitely what I gravitate towards, and these do not disappoint. So I will be keeping this palette in my collection. Okay, now the Norvina collection. These are actually quite massive. This is palette volume 1. The shades are very bold, very beautiful. I love all the varied purple shades, the hot pink. You have some neutral shades in case you need them. These square palettes though are predominantly bold colors. And then the shimmers, so you have, and they don't have necessarily names as they do a letter and number variation. So B3 or E1 and D2, very beautiful shades. I will be keeping this one. This one is volume 2. This one is more blue and green toned. Have some really pretty shimmers. This one E2. Very beautiful, like silvery, pinky undertone. And then you have D1 and A4. So I get very much ocean vibes with this, especially with the shifts in the shimmers. I'm gonna keep this palette as well. I swear we'll get to the point where I do get rid of some of my palettes. This one is volume 3. Okay, so I like this palette. Very much fall vibes, but I don't know that it speaks to me. I haven't used it, I haven't played around with it. I definitely need to. I want to play around with this palette, especially for the fall. For right now, it will stay in my collection. I know that there's some that I'm definitely getting rid of, but this one, I still, like, I love some of these shades. I also love that the purples are a little bit more grungy, and then the shimmers are a little more neutral. Volume 4, this one is very pink, and I love this one. You have that neon yellow, but then some of the shimmers, and this one looks like, these two actually look like pressed glitters. So they are actually. Look how beautiful and stunning those are. And then you have A2 and A5. The shimmers, the glitters, worth keeping this palette. And then you have some beautiful matte shades. I feel like I could use a couple of these for work, like B2 or A4, because they are on the neutral pink side, and I reach for the lighter shades when I go to work. This is volume 5. I love the packaging. Look at like the different geometric shapes on here. This was actually in my backdrop for quite a long time. I love the shades in here. The purples, the pressed glitter in D2. Just absolutely stunning. I love the purple shades in here. I don't know if I need to keep that one and this one. Okay, so this one is volume 1. And I've got more of the neons, but you have a lot of the purple shades in here. And then here you have more of the violet and lilac shades. It's the only reason I would be keeping it, because it does also have a lot of the tan and brown shades in here to work with. But the shades are beautiful. So this one will stay as well. This is the last one, which is volume 6. Don't mind the fact that you can see the fan and the reflection. This one is much different with the solid black and then what looks like the planetary system. This palette's also set up very differently. In the previous palettes, all the shimmers were just kind of like smattered throughout. This looks like it has a gradient rainbow minus some of the shades. And then all the glitters and shimmers are just at the top. And then you have the matte white shade. This is definitely something that I would keep for like spring, summer, especially if I want some of the neon shades. I get that right here in these rows. Okay, guys, the Too Faced I Want Candy palette. This is kind of a nostalgia type of piece because it was my first Too Faced palette. It is shaped like a candy box. Russell Stover used to have the metal tins that your candies came in, or the collectors during the holidays. This palette does not have a mirror. And then it used to have a scent. The scent has started to like waft away, and I want to keep the palette, but at the same time, I feel like I have these shades in other palettes from Too Faced as well as other brands. And it's shaped so weird. It takes up so much space. As much as I want to keep it, it is very old and awkward. So I am going to get rid of this one. I wonder though if the shades, oh, they're still buttery smooth. That is so funny. So shimmery and cute. But I just need to be honest and get rid of it. The Too Faced Pretty Rich palette. I love that it's shaped like a jewelry box and it's got the cushion fabric on it. It does have a mirror, which I appreciate. This palette is very cohesive with the lines. So if you look at each of the rows, they kind of correlate. You got the pinks with the rose gold glitter. You have the tans and neutral shades. Each of these has pressed glitter, shimmers, mattes. I am going to keep this. Okay, do not come from me. I know I just got rid of the I Want Candy palette because of the awkward shape. The rounded edge does not make it easy to put it away. But all of this is flat, so it can be stored pretty easily, as well as it is a beautiful display piece. So I am going to keep this one. Too Faced. This was one of the holiday releases. And I'm going to actually get rid of them together. This was from my face palette, Declutter. It's so beautiful and it magnetizes. But I did just recently purchase a new Chocolate Soleil bronzer. The highlighter, it's not as pretty as my other highlighters that I've swatched and kept. So this is going to get decluttered along with this eyeshadow palette that it goes with. I love the color story. It is really pretty. It's awkward to store. Just round palettes are hard. The shades are beautiful and even a pressed glitter in here, but I know I have these in other palettes. I know I have them in Too Faced palettes as well as other brand palettes. So I'm going to get rid of them together as a whole and not hold on to them as much as it like hurts me to do so. All right, the last, no, this is not the last holiday release that I had from Too Faced. The packaging is super cute though. I love the little like gingerbread, like fairy dancer. She's cute. She's very cute. But these all open up in stars, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to get all of it on camera. I'm currently using my vlog camera. But so you have 2 highlighters, you have 2 blushes, and a bronzer. And the gold in here is changing my lighting right now. It is just awkward. It is a very beautiful palette. And then I have some of the neutral, more purpley shades. This shade Cranberry, I don't think you can see it. It's kind of shattered and drying out, which I've never had happen before with a Too Faced eyeshadow. But this is very much on like the purple side. I know that I can pass this on to a friend. I also have a family member that I think would love to have this palette. So as much as I want to keep it because it is just so darn cute, I think I'm going to pass it on to a friend or family member that I think would very much appreciate this palette. It's so cute though. Look at that. I'm going to start with Cosmic Crush. This is the most recent Too Faced palette outside of the holiday releases that I have. The color story when I saw it originally was quite beautiful and I just wanted to love it. When I used this, I want to say I was pretty disappointed in the shadows and the shimmers, and this one right here is quite stunning. It is very beautiful with the black to teal shift. But I don't think I was that impressed when I used this palette. I want to love it. I've only used it like once or twice. I'm just not a huge fan. And that's saying a lot because I collect Too Faced palettes. I am going to hold on to it for now and use it again, see if maybe I change my mind. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's one of their like most amazing releases. It's beautiful. If I'm looking at like this release compared to like the ABH Cosmos, I was looking for those type of shadows from ABH in this palette. If you're talking about cosmic, I'm thinking like multiple or duo chrome shades. It's very matte. It's kind of boring. But I really like this shade, and even Frost in Space. I just think they could have done more with this palette. For now, I'm going to hold on to it. But I mean, that's just my opinion. Pinker Times Ahead. Okay, this palette, also very cute. I love the different shapes in the pans. The shimmers are so beautiful, and I love that you have some of these pastel-y, pinky purple, and even like this magenta. This is a beautiful palette. I am going to keep it, and I love the pops of glitter, I love the pops of color in the shimmery glitters. The Teddy Bear palette, I actually used this yesterday for work, and I still appreciate how beautiful and neutral it is. You have the browns, tans, pinky, you've got some gold, rose gold, and a little bit deeper like coppery shimmers. This is a beautiful palette, and definitely something that I will continue to reach for when it comes to like the neutrals and work shades. So cute. And I really appreciate the the smaller packaging. Look how cute that little teddy bear is. Okay, these three were holiday releases last year or 2 years ago. They're so cute and they're scented. I love this little packaging. So you have the raspberries. Theirs is a Berry Merry Christmas. You have a blush and 4 shadows, 2 shimmers, 2 mattes. I really like this, and I think that I can reach for it when I go to work. So cute. This one is Sugar Plum Cookie. Love this palette. The blush is really pretty. I love the matte purple, which is also the only matte shade in here. The shimmers, on the other hand, are absolutely stunning. Look at how beautiful those are. So I'm keeping that one as well. And then you have Totally Bananas. I reach for this for work a lot. I love the Whole Latte Love. It's more of a brownie blush than anything. And then you have the neutral shades and the bronzy gold shimmer. So beautiful. I'm not sure that I need to keep this, but I do like the packaging. I do love the scent, and I love the shades, and I know I can just grab this and exactly what I'm gonna get. This was their holiday release, I want to say last year, and these 3 palettes are beautiful. So this one with the little pink gingerbread, very neutral, and then you have Cinnamon Bunny. I don't know if that's a bronzer. Oh, this is the Ginger Snap palette. I forgot they had names. I do like that. I've got all the neutrals that I can use, and then I have this shade, which is a very pale bronzer, if that's what that is. But I use it in my crease to have a light shade. I don't know that I need that much of a crease shade, so I assume it's a blush. But it is so beautiful and so pretty on the eyes. This is the Sugar Cookie palette. Look how cute the pattern is. This one is also fairly neutral with the pops of color with the mint and the pink. And then the shimmer in here, which is Tritio Elf. Look how beautiful that is. And then you do have the blush. So very cute, very festive. Gonna keep that one as well. And then the Chocolate Chip palette. Also very neutral. All right, so here's all 3 of them. This could be one big palette if they had released it together, but I can grab each one of them separately and not a big deal. You got more of the red undertones with the Ginger Snap, You have more of the cool toned and then the pop of color with the mint and the pink. And then you have some of the more neutral tones and then this little pretty plummy purple, which also has a highlighter. The highlighter and then the pinky blush that was in the other palette leads me to believe the Ginger Snap palette has the bronzer, which is really pale for me. So I'm gonna keep all three of them. Okay, the Too Faced Italian Spritz palette. I am absolutely in love with this palette. Also, these palettes are scented and I'm in love with it. It is it's a tin packaging, which I'm not mad at, but look at the color story. Very beautiful, pretty for spring. You've got some pops of shimmery color. You've got some neutrals. So I feel like overall you have a little bit for everyone. If you want a pop of color, if you want neutral, if you just want neutral with a shimmery pop of color, you've got that as well. Let's see, Lake and Bake, Ciao Bellini, and this is Spritz Glitz. Those are the shimmers. Oh, look how beautiful they are. And they're so buttery when I swatch them. But gonna keep that one. Gingerbread Spice. I know I have the original gingerbread. Oh, you got ginger. All right, so you got Gingerbread Spice and Gingerbread Extra Spicy. This one was the first one to come out. Very neutral. You have some pops of color with this magenta. And then even with the shimmers, you've got the gold, well, bronzy gold, purple down here, the burgundy shimmer, and then even, what is this? Frostbite Me, this very beautiful, shiny white shimmer. So beautiful. And it's scented as well. So you've got this one, and then you have Extra Spicy, which introduces, so he's by himself, and then this time he's got his girl. Very neutral and warm toned. Now when we're comparing the two, you still have the neutrals, but the pop of color here is the magenta shade, and then in here it is the teal. And then I also have the gold and champagne shimmers in this one. So I'm gonna keep both of those. Okay guys, I figured out why the lighting changed so much. My camera is overheating. So I turned my fan back on. If you can see the shadow of the blades, I'm sorry. I would rather not have my camera overheat. So the Better Than Chocolate, I used to have the chocolate bar palette. I did get rid of that one. This one came out last year. I really like this one, and the chocolatey shimmers. So not necessarily like champagne. You only have this one with ooey gooey. But then you have more of the brown shimmers, which I really like. This blue and then purple are your pops of color in here, and then even gold, which the name is Gold Digger. This palette I'm also gonna keep. And I like the light pinky shade in here, and then all the tans. I am a neutral girl only because I have to keep it neutral for work. So right now, predominantly neutral staying in the collection, because I just like to vary up my eyeshadow palettes day to day. And the last Too Faced Metal Tin, this is Pumpkin Spice. And if I didn't say it before, I love that they are all scented. They're so yummy smelling. You have some neutral shades. You've got the purples. You've got some warmer tones with the oranges. You have the really pretty light pinks, even the purples. And Fall Vibes, this green. Look at those. Very beautiful. So I'm going to keep that as well. So this is the Too Faced Natural Lust palette. I absolutely love this palette just because, like I said, I have to wear neutrals for work. I am active duty military, in case anyone is wondering, because I've gotten asked in the drop down in previous declutters, like, what do you do for work that you have to wear neutrals? Military. I do have the bronzer that I kept from this release. It is very beautiful. This palette I can reach for and grab and just take with me wherever. It has all the neutral shades a person could I can't speak. This palette has all the neutral shades one person could possibly need, with the exception of, you know, you've got your black in here, you got a pink, and then even peacocking, which is kind of like that teal. And you guys, the gold is still messing with my lighting. But I'm not going to get rid of this. I get it. I'm going to have a lot of neutral palettes. That's just what I use predominantly when it comes to my everyday and for work. This palette is really pretty, and the formulas just perform. So I have every single shade I could possibly need in here with, you know, some browns, some reds, darker browns, black, just anything you could possibly need. I also love the packaging. It's so cute. Keeping. Here is one of the holiday releases from Too Faced. This doesn't have a name for it. There is a magnetic, it's the shape of this door, and it was a magnetic palette that attached to it. And I can't remember if it was blushes or highlighters or blush, bronze, and highlighter. I think I've already decluttered the door that goes to this. The packaging is so cute. I love the glittery ice on here. And I still love the shadows that are in here. Still neutral. You do have a black with glitter in it. You have kind of the not so deep browns, but more of like a ginger snap brown. And then you have some of the different, like this white one right here, which is Snowfake. It kind of has a shift. Still beautiful. Even Drink Up Grinches, kind of like a tealy shade. I'm not going to get rid of this one. I know I just got rid of a lot of my Too Faced holiday releases. I am going to keep this up. And then these Too Faced ones are the fruit scented ones. So you've got berry and pineapple. The Sparkling Pineapple Eye Palette. Very beautiful neutral shades. I do like the smaller palettes so that I can travel with them. And then you still have the gold and a duo like brown to green shade. Still a champagne, so I can do the pop in the inner corner or the brow bone. You have a deeper shade. So I am going to keep this in the collection. I love the scent of it, and I love the quality of Too Faced eyeshadows. And this is the Razzle Dazzle Berry. Smells so much like raspberries. This one has more of the purple, magenta, pinky shades. I do like reaching for this pink shade and then this little like rose gold. It is really pretty for work. And then you also have kind of like a bluish black with glitter. Can you see the glitter in there? I don't know that you can, but it is so beautiful. I am going to keep this one. Okay, now on to MAC. And I'm trying to keep all the brands together for the most part. So I have all the little like square palettes from MAC right now. This one was a holiday release. It was the Star Sighting Compact in Neutral. You have a deep brown, you've got a tan, and then you have a bunch of different shimmers in here. Such a cute little palette, great for travel. And the shimmers, this one, oh, look at that. And I thought I was going to get rid of this when I opened it up. I'm not. They're still buttery smooth. It's still a fun palette. I love the shimmers in here. So keeping this for now. The Kabuki Doll palette. This was the release for like Cherry Blossoms. I want to say 2 or 3 spring? Cherry Blossoms come out in like March, April timeframe in Japan, and you'll find them in DC. Very neutral palette. I love this for work. When I was taking my makeup to like the base gym or when I was a drill instructor, I could pop this in my makeup bag and just easy to grab on the go. So this one is going to stay in the collection for now. The Aaliyah palette. I am not getting rid of this. I got rid of the lipsticks. They were old, but I loved Aaliyah's music. I was so sad when the accident happened. I can't bring myself to get rid of this one. You've got the neutral shades, the pinks, purple. You've got gold, silver, and like a brownish. That's more, yeah, it's more brown, like a cool toned brown. So I am going to keep this palette. Now and Zen. The packaging is so cute. I don't remember when this was released, but I love this. you don't have any deep matte shades, which is not a bad thing. Sometimes I like a deep matte shade, but I can use the pink or the tan for work. And then I have some neutral shades for shimmers, as well as some pops of color. This blue, the champagne, and even like this shimmery black. So pretty. I'm gonna keep that as well. These two do not have names. The stickers either fell off or I never had stickers on there. These came out last year. Cool toned, mostly like black gray type, and then this really beautiful silver. So I'm gonna keep that one. And then you have kind of the mocha browns. I love this shimmer. Oh, so beautiful. Keeping that as well. Okay, I'm on to Nars, and I thought I had more than 3 palettes, but I could have also decluttered in the past. This is the uninhibited palette, and I can't actually flip it over because I smashed one of the shades. I did use this for work today. I used all the browns. I love the pinks in here. This one, the champagne, I'll put this one in the inner corner in the center and then put like this topper on it. So beautiful. I do keep this one on my desk because it is shattered, so I do reach for this quite often. And then if I want to deepen anything up with the cranberry, I've got those as well. So I am going to keep this one. The Orgasm Rising. Very neutral. Love the tan shades. I love these light, like pearlescent champagne shades. And then you even have a brown shimmer, a red shimmer. And then this shade is called Orgasm, which is a cult favorite in the blush collection. Kind of has this shift between the pink and the gold. So I am going to keep this one. Now, I did make a comment about all the Nars palettes looking the same. And then, of course, I also have the Endless Nights, which was just the holiday release, which is when I made that comment. And yeah, they do look very similar. This one's more red, this one's more brown. You got a like warmer toned brown, a more neutral brown. I still stand by the fact that they all look similar, but you have tans, you have pinks, you have golds and champagnes. That is our color story. I still love their eyeshadows though. I still like the little 9 pans, and they're so easy to stack on top of each other. If that is your aesthetic is browns and pinks, which is definitely mine, Nars has it for you. But I'm not getting rid of them. They're also kind of expensive. I have one palette from Give. This is Gwen Stefani's brand. This is the Just a Girl palette. Neutral, rose gold, champagne. Perfect. That's exactly what I need for work. It makes it easy to grab. I do reach for this quite a bit. I love the shimmers in here. They're just buttery and smooth. And I can build them up to be extra shimmery or just a touch of color. So I do like this, and I'm going to keep it in my collection. I know I have another Hip Dot palette, but I can't seem to find it. These were the Reese's collection, and I want to say I got them when I was living in Chicago. So you had the Peanut Butter White Chocolate palette. This one is so cute. It has the brown shades. This orange, absolutely stunning. When I think I did 2 looks in the video. The shades are beautiful. I love this orange, and I am not usually an orange shadow girly. And then this champagne is stunning. So I am going to keep that. And then you have the Peanut Butter Milk Chocolate palette. Same thing with this yellow. I was not expecting to like it, but really pretty shimmer. I'm not going to say that's a champagne. They're very cool toned. This one's just more silvery with, well, this one has like pinky undertones. This brown glitter is so beautiful. But I think the two palettes together are absolutely stunning and gonna stay in my collection for right now. Okay, we are on to the Huda Beauty square palettes. And then we'll talk about the Huda Beauty like big pan or bigger palettes. But I know, and I keep saving them, but I don't know that I need all of them in my collection. So we'll see. The Mauve Obsessions, I got this in a subscription box. It's also no longer sold on her site, but it's one of the paper components, just like the Obsession, the like Gem Obsessions. This palette I will probably keep. I am going to keep it. What's crazy though is it gives me like Nars vibes. If you're talking about the color story, you have a tan, you've got burgundies, you have a champagne shade, and then you have some pinky shimmers. I still love this palette and I reach for it for work. I absolutely love it. And I am a mauve girl through and through, so I am going to keep this for now. The Ruby Obsessions. Okay, see, this is hard because I really love the 9 pans. I know someone had made a comment about they're too dry and dusty. I don't have that issue. These shimmers are still buttery smooth and I love the shades. So I'm gonna keep that one. Amethyst Obsessions. I love the purple shades. This one in the center is so gorgeous. I love that shade. It just looks so wet on the finger. And I'm gonna keep it. I love purpley shades. So that one's staying. Emerald Obsessions. See, I almost thought I was gonna get rid of this one, but I love the greens in here and I do reach for green. I'm also probably not gonna get rid of a lot of my greens. My grandmother absolutely loved green shades on me because my eyes are green and she just wanted them to pop all the time. So I feel like I need to play around with this palette a little bit more just in honor of her. Oh, I'm trying not to cry, you guys. Didn't realize makeup could make me cry today. So I'm gonna keep this. I do like that there is a brown in here so you can just kind of deepen it up a little bit. I wish there was more of like a grungier green vice the teal, but I do love the shimmers in here and I love this grungy green shimmer. Oh, look at those. Oh, that'd be a beautiful pair. Topaz Obsessions. I feel like this one's all orange, right? Okay. Do I get rid of this? It's very fall vibes. Crap, you guys. Am I really not getting rid of... I did this last time. I'm on the fence with this because I do know that I have shades similar to this, but I do like the 9 pans because I can just grab this as well as another one and be out the door. I don't... See, they're still buttery smooth and I really like those. I'm keeping it. Sapphire Obsessions. Grandma loved blue. That was her favorite color. This has all the blue shades you could possibly need, a silver and a peridot green, which is my birthstone. So I'm gonna keep that one as well. All right, we have the browns. So you've got chocolate brown. You know it's a neutral. It's not going anywhere. This as well as toffee brown. Now toffee brown, I may not like, I don't know that I love those shades. I like the topaz ones over this. I don't know. I know for sure I'm keeping chocolate brown. But here's topaz. Okay. See, these are similar. They're not exact. They're similar. I'm on the fence with this one though. So I'm gonna hold on to toffee brown for right now. But I feel like topaz. I like these brown shimmers I just don't go that dark. I don't know. They're similar, but they're not exact. Even the oranges. This is going to be a very unpopular opinion, but I'm keeping both of them. I tried. All right, so we have Love Fest and Gold. And Gold was released, what was it? Cult Beauty was like a limited release, and then it popped up on Huda's website a year later. This one's very beautiful. I love the lighter neutral shades, and then these shimmers are beautiful. I love the gold and even the greeny gold. Ooh. So the gold palette I was in love with as soon as I saw it. And I want to say, is Cult Beauty a European makeup site? I know I purchased this and it had a higher shipping than Huda's website, so I'm keeping that one for right now. Love Fest. Okay. I'm in love with the shimmers. I'm not in love with the matte shades. See, I'm gonna keep it. Okay, we have the nudes. So there's light, medium, and rich. Okay, light has the light purple, light pink. This one has kind of like the bronzy and coppery shades, and then this has the burgundies. When it comes to the light shades, I can really only use these two. This pink disappears on my skin, and the purple is just a little like weird and cool on me. But, I think I'm keeping them. I love Huda Beauty eyeshadows, you guys. And I haven't had any issues with her 9 pans. Okay, I might actually, the pastels, I have not used these. I don't reach for them. Like the rose pastel, I'm for sure getting rid of. It is too light. I don't reach for any of these shimmers, and I know that I have some of these shades in other palettes. So the rose pastel is gone, which I didn't expect to get rid of a 9-pan Huda Beauty palette. This one, the mint pastel, I am going to keep. We just had this conversation about greens. I do like this palette. I do like that it has the rose gold, the champagne shimmers, a light minty shimmer. Now, the purple. I think I'm gonna get rid of the purple pastel, or lilac. So I'm getting rid of lilac and rose. And I'm keeping mint. Okay, we have the wild palettes from Huda. You have Tiger. Ooh, you have Chameleon. Python. And Jaguar. And Jaguar has one of my favorite shades in it. I think there's enough room to put them all next to each other. Okay. This one, I feel like, so I love this shade in here. I love the golds and the browns. You do have the oranges, which remind me of the Topaz palette. This palette, which is Chameleon. I'm not a huge fan of Chameleon. I think I'm going to get rid of that one, but I am going to keep all of these. So I'm keeping Jaguar, Tiger, and Python. Okay, you guys, I found one more Nars palette. This is the Summer Unrated. And this is why I said, like, Nars, they have a color story. It is neutral, reds, tans, browns. Like, I'm not going to get rid of this palette. It is really pretty. I love the shimmers in here. Like, they are quite beautiful. And I do like Nars palettes, even though they are very, very similar. Now we have the larger Huda Beauty palettes. We will kick this off with the Naughty palette. So this is Naughty Nude. This I absolutely love for fall. You have the deeper, warmer browns. You have some very beautiful shimmers, cranberries. This glaze called Slippery, I still have not used it on my eyes, only because I have oily eyelids. They just don't work for me. But the other shimmers are quite stunning. Ooh, look at those. I do have a dupe for this palette, which I will show later on down the road. I just don't know if I'm keeping it or decluttering it, but this one is for sure staying in my collection. Rose Quartz. This is by far one of my favorite palettes from Huda Beauty. I use it on a daily for work. If I'm going to work, it's going to be Gratitude, Aura, and the shade Self Love, which if I could just get a little palette with those three in it, I'd be set. Any other day, it's any of Gratitude, Aura, Precious, or Mantra, and then Moon Magic, Blissful, or Cosmic Love. Love those shades. I have played around with a couple others, but these ones, because they are kind of like duo multi-chrome, in love with. This for 2023, I think that's when this was released. I can't remember if it was 2022, 2023. It has the most love out of my collection. And look at that. Oh, it's so beautiful. Mercury Retrograde. I love the packaging. It's so beautiful. The color story, phenomenal. This has your bright tones. It's got some neutrals. The shimmers are spectacular. I love the purples, the burgundies, the gray. These shimmer shades right here, phenomenal. It is only worth swatching them. Look at those. Oh, stunning. Do not sleep on this palette. I know when I went to go use it again during a Shop My Stash, I had linked it. It was sold out. This palette is stunning. The Empowered palette, actually, no. This is the one that I have the dupe for, not the Naughty Nude. So Empowered, I have the dupe for, which is I'll talk about it when I get there, and that brand is out of Texas. This palette is the one that has the dupe, and I just did the video for it not too long ago. I absolutely love this palette for fall. You have the warm tones, you have some deep dark browns, you've got some peachy shades. The shimmers are absolutely beautiful. This shade Visionary is kind of like a marbled tan and purple. It's kind of coppery when you swatch it. Stunning. If you want a good fall palette, the Empowered from Huda, if you want to save some money, wait for the dupe. I will talk about it in a little while. But this, beautiful. This is Huda Beauty's newest palette. This is pretty grunge. If you were a goth back in the day, or you just liked the grungy shades, this palette is it. You've got the tans, you've got peaches, but then you've got the like purpley shades, Fearless, Nirvana. Hope is a beautiful like brownish shade. The shimmers, stunning. My favorite is Rebel. This shade Grunge, which is kind of like a waxy creamy shade, I haven't used only because of my oily eyelids. But besides Grunge, which is kind of like that oil slick shade, I do have Renegade, which is a black shade. And I love a palette that has a black shade to deepen up and smoke out. This is absolutely staying. The original New Nude from Huda Beauty. This is when the crushed pearl shades were delivered. So you have Charmed, Daydream, Crave, and Fantasy, which were the crushed pearl shades that arrived in Huda Beauty formulas. You also have two glitters, which are Excite and Infatuated. But then everything else, you've got some tans, you've got some pinks, you've got a couple purple, two purples-ish, magenta purple-esque. This palette, absolutely beautiful. I love the shades in here. So I will swatch the crushed pearls. Look how stunning those are. You got a gold, champagne, pink, and burgundy-ish shade. Those are stunning. The formulation, beautiful. So this is obviously staying. I don't know if I'm getting rid of any Huda outside of the 9 pans. The Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. This is the remastered. I originally bought this palette off of Amazon, which turned out to be a very, very, very bad dupe. And then I received this palette in a subscription box. It is stunning. Just look at the artwork. This says buy me right here. And I did. I wanted to buy it so bad. Now, is it the formulation that I'm used to from the retrograde, nude, any of those? No, it's not, but formulations are meant to be reformulated, remastered, produced. I do like this palette. You have the tans, you've got reds, burgundies, black, and then you have these beautiful shimmers. I will swatch a couple of them, and they are so buttery smooth. Look how stunning those are. I'm still gonna keep it. And this is the one that I received from a subscription box. The one that I purchased off of Amazon. When I got it, first off, the cover was so far off that I could tell that it wasn't the original Huda Beauty. And I just got rid of it right away. And I was so excited when I received this in my subscription box. It is beautiful and stunning. This is a brand called ZC. I want to say, are they Korean or? This is made in China. I assume the font on the back is Chinese since it's made in China. This is the British Museum and ZC, and it's their Alice in Wonderland palette, which is beautiful. I have never used it. I am really bummed that I haven't used it. But the shades in here are beautiful, and I do need to actually reach for it. You've got some pinky shades, you have a tan and a mauve, and then some shimmers. They are quite stunning and beautiful. I haven't actually swatched them, which this is the first time I'm doing it now. Oh, and look how beautiful those are. So I am gonna keep this one for right now. This is not the only palette I have from ZC. And then the other thing is it has it has glitter in here. And you can't really see it, but this does like rain down. So if you let it fall, the glitter will disperse. But it is a beautiful palette. And then this is the Fireworks palette with the cat on the top of it. It's kind of like a tribal cat. It is so cute. On the inside, you have the little slip that's got the cats on it, and then you have some pressed glitters, shimmers, and matte shades. So cute. Also, I need to reach for this, especially because I feel like I could get some use out of the matte shades for work. And then the pressed glitters are so pretty. Look at this. Oh, there's butterflies in there. Oh, okay. See, and this is why I have not gotten rid of this palette yet. Okay, on to some palettes that I only have like one or two from the brand. This is Estee Lauder. I received this in the holiday gift when I made a small purchase, and the gift was like $85 with a bunch of skincare and makeup. This is their Celestial Glow palette. It's really cute, honestly. You've got brown, you've got black, you've got some tan and lighter shades. The downside is I already have these shades in other palettes. So I am going to pass this on to a friend because I'm pretty sure I have someone that is going to be absolutely in love with this. It is cute. It does have the stampings of a Pegasus. And it's so cute. I have used this a couple different times. I do like the formulation. The eyeshadows are beautiful. I can't bring myself to keep this knowing that I have larger palettes that have similar shades. Patrick Ta Major Dimension. It is literally a mirror. This is Major Dimension 2. This is the one that's kind of like the rose gold mauve shades, and I'm absolutely here for it. So you have all the mattes on the bottom. You have two cream shades on the side, which are actually protected by the little plastic cover like he has in his, what is it, contour palette and his blushes now. And then all the top row is shimmers. This palette is absolutely stunning. I love it so much. I think I got this during one of the Sephora sales that was just going on. And I think I got 20% off. It's beautiful. And I now know that I need to get the like neutral brown shades. But there's one that was just all matte and I could not get behind it because I am a shimmer loving gal. So I am going to keep this one. Full on, like the mirror showing everything. Glam Natrix Cosmetics Into the Night. This palette is absolutely stunning. I wish I had more palettes from Glam Natrix. Their shipping is ridiculously high because they are an international brand. The shimmers are stunning and they are indie. So I wore this during the, crap, I can't remember the concert. I wore it during a concert and it stayed all night. We will swatch a couple of the shimmers because they are beyond belief. Ooh, look at those. Glam Natrix. If you haven't picked them up, go check them out. I will tell you, the shipping is not for the faint of heart. It is the only reason I don't own more palettes from them. Okay, on to Dose of Colors. This is the Mickey Minnie collaboration. I like the palette. There's a highlighter. There are 6 eyeshadows, 4 mattes, 2 shimmers. The downside, I have these shades in other brands. I want to keep it. I really do. But I know I have them in other palettes and I'm going to get rid of it. That is really difficult. I love Disney. I grew up in Florida and drove to Orlando all the time. But I have it in other palettes. All right, Dose of Colors. This is Daffy and Daisy. I can't remember the name of it. And it doesn't say. All right, so you have Oopsie Daisy, which is the blush. And then you have 6 eyeshadows. The difference between this one and the Mickey one is the shimmers. You have 3 different shimmers. You have 3 mattes. Beautiful. You have a pink, a brown, a black. Great. The shimmers, though, are absolutely stunning. And my favorite is Attitude and Iconic. Look at those. The downside is I feel like I have them in other palettes. As much as I want to keep this palette, I have the shades in others. So I think I am going to get rid of this one as well as the Mickey and Minnie palette. Artist Couture. This is the Supreme Mauves. I have other things from Artist Couture like the highlighters. I have a lipstick somewhere, but I don't know if it's still a brand. I haven't seen anything released recently. This palette though, beautiful. I love the shades. I can wear this to work. I've got tans, I've got mauves, I have some beautiful shimmers. This is what I would go to for work. So I am going to keep this. And then we also have Supreme Nudes. This palette is beautiful as well. I will reach for the mauves over the nudes for work only because of the shimmers. I can't necessarily get away with the shimmers that are in here because you've got green, you've got brown, you have gold and bronze. I just don't have the skin tone to pull that off in uniform. So this is like an everyday weekend or during the fall. Absolutely love it. I love the brown and tan shades, but the mauves is where it's at when it comes to work. So I'm keeping this as well. On to Natasha Denona. Okay, little plug right here. I do have an affiliate code with Natasha Denona. It is in the drop-down box. You can save some change. I will say I do get a commission off of it, but Natasha Denona palettes, the formulation is absolutely beautiful. This is the Tropic palette. I bought it when it was on sale. And it's beautiful. Only because these large palettes are over $100. And whew, I don't like to spend that type of change. There's some nudes, pinks, pops of color. I love the shimmers. I love Natasha Denona formulation. So I am going to keep this, especially like the tan shades. I need to keep this on my desk so I can wear this for work. But it is beautiful. The Circo Loco palette. This, when I saw it, the color story is bright, brilliant, beautiful. Look at the shades. You have a couple mattes, you have lots and lots of shimmers, which need to be swatched. I also like that the palettes you can pop the colors out of and change them around. Just remember, they've got to be the same shape or in size. But, oh, look at those. Beautiful. So I'm keeping this one as well. I will tell you, the Trio Chrome palette, I'm on the fence. I bought this and then I got it and I was like, ooh, this along with the pastel palette, beautiful. But this palette only has 3 shimmers, 3 chromes, 3 trio chromes. The rest are matte shades. Those are beautiful, but I'm kind of disappointed. And I say that, but I knew what I was getting into when I purchased it because I bought it when I was on sale. So it had been out for a little bit. The shades are beautiful. The good thing about trio chromes and duochromes, whatever mattes you put down is the shades they play off of. So I think I will still get a pretty good variation. The downside is there's only 3 shimmers and I love shimmers, but I'm still gonna keep it. Okay, I Need a Nude palette, my go-to from Natasha Denona. This is absolutely stunning. I traveled with it when I went to Spain. I traveled with it when I went home for the holidays. This palette is beautiful. I've got the pinky shades. I've got the tan and brown shades. This shade Mia is beautiful. It looks like wet water on your eyelid. Stunning. If you want a beautiful champagne shimmer, you've got that. Just this palette itself, the formulations, the color story, one of my favorites, and I absolutely love this. My dream palette, I like the color story. There's some peachy shades, there's some browns, black, you've got the burgundies and purples, you've got some multi and duochrome shades, beautiful shimmers. The formulation is spectacular. This shade Envision is like a scarab. It goes from like gold to burgundy to green. It is absolutely beautiful. You've got cream to powder formulas. You've got like plain old powder formulas, but the palette is beautiful. I don't know what she does, but her palettes are magic. And I cannot guarantee that I'm going to get rid of anything from her. Glam palette. Okay, I don't... My complaint, I don't like the packaging. The reflection, it shows all my fingerprints. That's my complaint. The formulations of the powders and the shimmers, beautiful. This does not have multi or duochromes in here. It is just good old shimmers and mattes. And I absolutely love it. You've got some gold, champagnes, browns, grays. This is a very cohesive neutral palette for those that love neutrals, and it's going to stay in the collection. I need to reach for it some more because I have been focusing on the I Need a Nude quite a bit. This is her newest palette, Xenon, and it looks like it has some like cool tone to black shades. It leans very blue when I swatched it and used it. Very gray to blue, and sometimes like a black shade with Sposh or a shimmery blackish gray with Cygnus. The palette itself is beautiful. This shade Snowbow is kind of like pink leaning. But if you were into like, if you're into like glam goth, you got that in here. Even this champagne shade, Skift, love it. Everything else is silver, black, blue, and gray. And I am not mad at it. We have Retro Glam. this palette. If you like mints, pinks, beautiful champagne shimmers, some brown shimmers, this palette was not what I was expecting, but I am in love with it. I love the shades that are in here, and they just speak to me. Look at those. Absolutely beautiful. Her shimmers are to die for. Her mattes just so blendable. This palette is beautiful. I could honestly, though, use this for work with Lucy, Faye, Flutter, and Jazzy. I could pull that off for work. Neutrals in the retro palette. Sunrise. This one I cannot use for work at all. You have burgundies, oranges, tans. The shimmers are beautiful. This shade Aster is after my heart. Look at that. Aster is absolutely phenomenal. But then you have all the burgundies and this like creamy, cool toned brown. Ooh, really like that. So this is staying as well. I cannot guarantee I'm getting rid of anything from Natasha Denona. Zendo. Okay, I actually received a Zendo palette in my subscription box and it was part of my giveaway. This palette is beautiful. You have some burgundies, browns, and greens. Love this. Yama kind of reminds me of that shade I was having issues with in Anastasia Beverly Hills when it seemed like it was in two different palettes. But I'm not mad at it. I have not seen the same color story in any other Natasha Denona palettes. This is beautiful though. Bronze palette. This is beautiful for... This palette is beautiful for fall. I love the amount of shimmers to mattes because there are more shimmers than mattes. You only have 5 mattes in here. You have a cream to powder and then a bunch of different shimmers. I am not disappointed in this at all. Yucca palette. This was the surprise I was waiting for and didn't realize. The color story on this is phenomenal and stunning. Tans, teals, greens. This shade Elysian and then Komarebi and Plantation. I love the shimmers in here. There are more mattes than shimmers in this palette. Not mad at it because they just accentuate. Look at those shimmers. Absolutely stunning. I can't say that you're surprised knowing that I'm going to keep this palette. I do like the packaging on this because it's kind of like that soft matte and it doesn't show my fingerprints. Okay, we have the retro palette. I love this. I want to say there was a like love palette that was released. This is beautiful. You've got burgundies, pinks, the shimmers are beautiful. This shade's psychedelic. I'm going to swatch a couple others, but the shimmers are beautiful. This one is psychedelic and it kind of looks wet on the finger, but the shimmers are not disappointing at all. And then the pastel palette. This palette is the reason I decluttered my pastel 9 pans from Huda Beauty. Were all these shades in the Huda Beauty palette? No, but I feel like I've got it covered with this and I can use this one palette vise having 3 different pastel palettes. The shimmers in here are stunning. You have some beautiful matte shades. Look at those. Quite stunning. I'm not disappointed that I kept this over my 9 pans. Now, there are quite a few different like 5 pans from Natasha Denona. I have 4 of the smaller ones. This one is the mini retro, which is supposed to coincide with the bigger retro. All right, so here is the retro palette. And then this is the mini retro. And there were quite a lot of people that are like, how does this go with that because usually the minis are released before you get the larger. There's 2 green shades, but this entire retro palette is burgundies, pinks, and tans. I don't understand how they're cohesive, but I like them. This 5-pan I will actually grab for work. I can't use the green, but I can use the pinks for work. And it is beautiful. And the color palette is stunning. The shimmers perform beautifully, but I don't know how they work together. Then I have the, what is this, mini Love palette. I do not have the larger Love palette. I think there's a larger Love palette. The shades are beautiful. There's 2 mattes, 3 shimmers. This one is absolutely stunning, and it kind of like is a duo multi-chrome. I mean, let's swatch and see. Oh, look at that. It's beautiful. So keeping that one. Knowing that I need to have neutrals for work, I don't think anyone's surprised that I'm keeping the mini nude palette. Now, this mini nude came out many moons ago compared to the I Need a Nude palette. This color story is not anywhere near the cool toned I Need a Nude. I do like it though. It's great for work. You have the 2 matte shades. These 2 I can use for work, not so much the bronzy shade, but it is really quick and easy to grab and do my makeup for work. And then Lila palette. Is there a larger Lila palette? I don't know. I want to love this. I want to keep it. But I don't know. I don't know. I like the shades. I do have 2, 3, like, isn't there a palette that just had a very similar like blue color story to it? Or a 5-pan? I think I just ordered it. I don't know. I don't know that I need this one. I think I'm gonna declutter, which is weird because I love Natasha Denona. I just don't think I need to keep this palette. Here are the larger 5 pans. I literally decluttered this and then received it 2 months later in a subscription box. This is the Jubilee palette. I'm gonna keep it. I decluttered it and apparently I am meant to have it in my collection. It's pretty. I have 2 matte shades, the tan and the pink, and then I have 2 chromes and a cream to powder. I'm gonna keep it. I decluttered it once, it showed up again. So it's called Karma, and I meant to have it in my collection. Now, this one right here, this is the Cupid palette. I don't know if it's a larger Love palette or a Cupid palette, but I haven't used this. I don't think I purchased this. I think this was a subscription box. Beautiful nude shades with the mattes and then 2 shimmers. I am going to keep it because it's something that I think I could use for work. And I love her formulation. So I'm going to keep that one. This is the Ayana palette. I think this was also in a subscription box. Tan, brown, tan. 2 shimmers, 1 brown and 1 green. I think I can use this for work with this brown shade right here if I just go in slightly, as well as the Alloy palette. So there's not an eyeshadow palette that's Alloy, but there is an Alloy face palette. I love this. It has the bronzy shades. You've got 2 shimmers, 3 mattes, and I have used this for work and I really like it, and I got compliments on my makeup. So I am going to keep this as well. These 5 pans are great for travel when you don't want to carry huge palettes and you only want to take up a little bit of space. So I'm going to keep that as well. Now, I did not know I had as many as I do from Pat McGrath. I thought I just had a small amount, but I'm currently looking at, oh boy, you guys, this is way more than I thought I had. And then when I started to pull out particular brands. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. How did we get here? And I remember purchasing these two a while back, but Pat McGrath is expensive, you guys. And this is what how, where, when? All right, we'll start with this one right here, which is the Divine Rose Luxe Quad Eternal Eden. First off, I ordered this and then I received it in a subscription box, which is currently in the giveaway for January. While I'm filming this, it is January. By the time you see this, the giveaway will be done. This palette is beautiful. I did not realize I was getting it in a subscription box, but I'm glad I received it and I can give it away to one of you guys. So I'm gonna keep that one. I literally just purchased it. Now, these two. I ordered these a couple years ago, many moons ago, from Sephora during, I think it was a holiday release. They're pretty. They're definitely something I would use. The downside is they are literally all shimmers. There's not a single matte in either of these palettes. They're beautiful, but I feel like I have these similar shades in my Natasha Denona, my Huda Beauty, other palettes that I'm keeping. And I feel like the palettes that I have from Pat McGrath that I'm currently looking at are gonna have other beautiful shades that I'm keeping. So I'm gonna get rid of these two. Okay, so I have the Celestial Nirvana eyeshadow palette in Bronze Bliss. This was, I think, in a subscription box that I just recently got. It only has the one matte shade, but the shimmers are absolutely everything. And Pat McGrath, her formulation, just like Natasha Denona, is beautiful. So I am gonna keep that one. These I just picked up. They're part of the holiday release. Now, I do have two palettes because in my holiday release, or I can't remember which video it was in, I referenced the fact that these looked like they were part of the Bridgerton release. And I only say that because this is the packaging for Bridgerton. Does it not like resonate royal? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think they have very similar vibes? They're both the paper cartons. I mean, this was also a like Valentine's Day release. And this is not so much, but these four, like jewels, pearls, bows. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Am I reading too much into it? Let me know. This is the Lunar Nightshade palette, and it is beautiful. Also, one matte shade, it is the purpley shade, and then all these shimmers are so beautiful and stunning. And they're so buttery smooth. Oh, you know I'm keeping this. And then we have Bordeaux Bliss. I love the mauve shades. This one does not necessarily have like a matte shade. This matte shade has gold glitter in it, but it's still beautiful. And when I blended it out, I think this is the one that I used. I think so. This still, even with the gold glitter, was stunning in the outer corner and the crease. It's staying. For Bridgerton, we have the Diamond of the First Water. Very beautiful packaging. These shades are beautiful, and I love the burgundies and mauve tones. This blue and then the two shimmers are quite stunning. But look at that blue. So icy and wet looking. I am going to keep those. Look at that one. I need to use this for work. It'd be beautiful. And we have Belle of the Ball. I love this palette. You have the two like burgundy pinky shades, but you have this beautiful luscious green, a rose gold, a green, and well, bluish green, and then a champagne shade. Those are quite stunning. And her shimmers are something to envy. Look at that. Keeping. The iconic Infatuation palette. I want to say this was like a Valentine's Day release. Love the burgundy shades. Definitely something that I can use for work. And the shimmers are stunning. So keeping this one. If I could deep pot or deep pan these and put them in just one big magnetic, I would definitely do that. I haven't yet. We have two from Star Wars, R2-D2, which was Divine Droid. This one is the colorful palette, has no matte shades, all shimmers, and just absolutely stunning. I'm barely swatching them. Look how buttery smooth and beautiful they are. Keeping that one. And Sith Seduction, which has Darth Vader on the front of it. But you have all the like burnt grungy shades, and this blue is everything. Ooh. Keeping. Okay, this is one that I picked up for the holidays quite some time ago. This is the Celestial Divinity. It is quite stunning. A lot of purple shades. You have some pinky tones, greens, golds, a couple matte shades. In this entire palette, there are 3 matte shades. I'm not mad at it, but at the same time, not everyone loves a pure shimmer palette. And see, it's just so beautiful. I thought I was going to get rid of this, and I'm not. It's going to stay in the collection for right now. Ugh, I need to reach for this. It is quite an interesting package, though. And it is one of her thinner palettes that I have. I do have the, what are they? Mothership. This is way more than I ever thought I would own. Only because they are ridiculously priced when they first come out. I do, however, wait for her sales, and they'll do, you know, buy one palette, get one free, or you name it, there have been the sales. So I do have 5 of them, which I never, ever, ever in my life thought I would own. This is the Divine Rose. This one's a little more subdued, but the shimmer, this one has kind of like a shift to it. This is a little more cool toned. You just, some yumminess right here to play around with these lighter nude shades. Oh, I don't even think you can see the swatch that I just did. But it has like a pinky shift. So this one is staying. I think this was one of the first Mothership palettes that I picked up. But I do, like I said, purchase these when they are on sale. I don't necessarily pick them up when they're first released because they're way more expensive than I like to spend on a palette. This is Sunlit Seduction. Look how stunning these shades are. And this is definitely something that's right up my alley. You have the 3 neutral like pinky shades, and then the shimmers are everything. These 4 right here, if they were just in a quad, I'd be in love. Like, I would just buy that quad. If I have single shadows that are like this, I would definitely just buy the quad of shimmers. So this one is staying. Here is Moonlit Seduction. I am losing my voice, you guys. That is so weird right now. All right. Also, 3 matte shades, a quad of 4 shimmers, and then 3 shimmers over here as well. This shade right here is Divine. Barely swatching them. They're so buttery smooth. They're so shimmery. Just everything on the eyes. One swipe, beautiful. So I will be keeping this. And then this one in the inner corner in Brow Bone is stunning. This one is Divine Rose 2. Same thing. Oh, and actually, this one actually only has 2 matte shades, and the rest are shimmers or what I would consider like suede shades. But they are everything. I'll probably never get rid of my Pat McGrath palettes. I say that, I did get rid of 2 of them earlier. And then the last one I have, this is the Star Wars release. This is Midnight Sun. You have 3 matte shades, some beautiful shimmers, some kind of grungy tones. So tan, burgundy, and a grayish shade. But then you have the forest green and some beautiful shimmers in like bronzy gold and, oh, look at that. I need to play with these. I really want to use this tomorrow. Look at how stunning those are. There was some turmoil over this palette because the Star Wars isn't actually the palette, it is a sticker. And there were some thoughts of, okay, was this a palette that they just put the sticker on top of? Or was it, you know, I don't know. I don't know the thought behind this. I wish this wasn't a sticker. I did recently pick up another one and I haven't opened it yet. I just know that I ordered it online, but it looks like it's an all gold Star Wars palette. So I'm waiting for that one. But I mean, what was the point of the sticker? It makes me think that it was an afterthought. Like, hey, we had this palette and we think it would be good for Star Wars. I don't know. Anyone else feel that way? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, on to Urban Decay. And I like Urban Decay, but I don't know that I'm in love with them anymore. So this is the Naked Heat, and it is beautiful. The thing is, I've never used it. And as much as I love this palette, I feel like the Natasha Denona, I forgot what the name of it was, has similar shades. I don't know. I do like Urban Decay. I do like that they have a lot of matte shades, a couple shimmers. For now, I'm going to keep this. I say that. There's only like 4 shimmers in here, and we know I love shimmers. These 2 are really buttery. This one feels kind of dry. Lumbre? Oh, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of torn. I just don't reach for this. I think I'm going to get rid of this. Weird enough to say, because I purchased it and never used it. You know what? This may end up in my Poshmark. I'll put it linked down below if you guys are interested. I wanted to keep it. I wanted to love it, but I feel like I have similar shades in the Natasha Denona palette. Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet. Okay, this one I never used, but there's some beautiful shimmers in here and some really pretty like neutral shades, some pops of color. Let's see. They do feel kind of dry. I do like the shades though. I would love to see how they work. I'm gonna keep the Ultraviolet palette. Like, this speaks to me more than the Naked Heat. So I will keep that one for now. Naked Cherry. Okay, this was one of the first Urban Decay palettes I did on my channel. And then I traveled with it everywhere. I love this palette. It is going to stay. I feel like I should actually reach for this more. Could definitely use the shade Feels and Privacy for work along with Bang Bang or Turn On. So I am going to keep this one for right now. And I love the packaging. Look at all the cherries. It's so cute. Naked Honey. I do like the packaging. The tones. It It is a very neutral palette, which I've already had this conversation about neutrals. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Ooh, those are pretty. Why have I not used this? I'm going to keep this one. Naked Smoke. This one is very cool toned, if I remember. Yes, and I am going to keep it. I love a good cool tone. I would love to do a comparison of this palette and like Natasha Denona Zenon. Like, this is stunning. And I love like the cool toned champagne shades. So I will keep this one as well. All right, Wild West. See, I love this for fall. I love the burnt orangish brown shades, the gray, some champagne and gold, and then the pop of color with the teals. I'm gonna keep this one as well. Okay, we have Sigma. I have 3 palettes from Sigma. I've got Alice in Wonderland Princess, which is Cinderella, and then Nomad. Let's start out with Nomad. I love, love, love this palette. The shades in here are stunning. I love the neutral mattes. The shimmers are absolutely everything. Love the shade Avant-Garde. If you have not tried Sigma, like, you are missing out. They have some beautiful palettes. I did just pick up Beauty and the Beast. It is in the new makeup drawer. We'll get to that here soon. This is one of my favorite palettes though from Nomad, or Sigma Nomad. Alice in Wonderland, if you have seen my arm, I have a sleeve of Alice in Wonderland. That's like a whole story, and I've talked about it in previous videos where I'm reviewing Alice in Wonderland. This palette is quite beautiful, has pops of color, some neutral shades, the shimmers. This shade Tea Party, After My Heart, that is my birthstone peridot. And then you have some deeper shades as well. I'm not getting rid of this one. And I love the artwork, the little psychedelic Alice. So these will stay in my collection. And then Cinderella. This has some beautiful neutrals, pops of color with the greens, the purples, the golds. I absolutely love this, and Sigma has a great formula. So keeping that one as well. Okay, Dominique Cosmetics. I have never actually purchased a Dominique Cosmetics palette. I've received all of these in subscription boxes. This one is Rustic Glam. Okay, I want to keep this, but I've never used it. 2 tan brown shades, pops of color everywhere. Oh, I'm so torn. I love, like, I could use these 3 shades for work. I could also use Free Spirit, Fringe, and Suede for like a mocha latte type of eye, but I also feel like I have other palettes that also would be like that. This shade Moon Orchid and Gypsy, oh, and they're so buttery smooth. Oh my goodness. I love those, but I also feel like I have those shades in other palettes that I would just gravitate towards more. I think I'm gonna pass this on. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I was going to do that, but I'm going to let it go. The Unconditional palette. I saw this, I tried to purchase it, it was sold out. And then I received it in my subscription box. I have used this a couple times. I love the formulation. The shades are stunning. Pressed glitter, 2 shimmers, 3 mattes. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to keep it because it is small, it's compact, I can carry it around with me, I can take it on travel. It doesn't take up a lot of room. A beautiful champagne, as well as like a cream toned shimmer for the inner corner. And then you can deepen it up or just keep it as light as you want to. So this is beautiful, and I'm going to keep it. Dominique Essential Palette. This one I'm going to keep. It has everything you need. It is literally in its title, Essential. You have pink, tans, black, cream, and then all the shimmers you could possibly need, from brown, gold, bronze, champagne, and a cool toned purplish pewter. This palette is absolutely stunning, and I'm gonna keep it in my collection as well. Okay, I missed this one when I did all the Kaleidos. I forgot that I had this palette, but it is literally the first Kidos palette I ever purchased, and this is Flower Punk. The palette itself is really cool. This lid actually is all magnetic, has a mirror on the back and then a mirror here so you can see your makeup, but you can just either take it off completely and hold it as a mirror or just have it strictly as a palette. I do love this palette. You have some beautiful shimmers, great mattes. There are predominantly more mattes than shimmers, but the shimmers are beautiful. You have Aloe Cove, Stained Glass, and Sun Gazer. Those three shades are so beautiful and stunning, and I am not getting rid of this palette. It does remind me very much of Melt. It does have the pressings in some of the pans, which I am not disappointed at, but it reminds me of Melt very much so. Which brings me to Melt. They are all stored on the same shelf because they are predominantly the same size. We will, however, start with this Melt palette, which was on a different shelf and I had to dig for it. This, what was it, Mariposa? Amore Mariposas. The bleeding heart is a little weird to me. With, what are they, hummingbirds? Yes. My great grandmother absolutely loved hummingbirds, and we would sit by her window watching the hummingbird feeder and watch them come and drink the sugar water. I love the cover. I don't like the heart though. It's kind of weird to me, but that's just me. The shades in here are beautiful. You have some vibrant oranges, you have some burgundies, reds, purples, greens, tans. You have a little bit of everything for everyone. You're missing a black, which I wish there was just to deepen it up a little bit more, but the shimmers are stunning. And they're so buttery smooth. Didn't I just get rid of a palette that had orange? I'm glad I'm keeping this one because the shades are beautiful. We have the Brunette palette. Neutral shades, 3 shimmers, everything else is matte, but I can use this for work and deepen up, lighten, whatever I need to do. You've got your champagne shade, tans all the way to your darker brown, and then you've got a bronzy and more of a like gold shade. So I am going to keep this one. You have Electrip. This palette is a little more colorful. You do have a brown, but everything else is predominantly bright. You've got red, peach, blues, greens. The shimmers don't disappoint, and this is one of my more recent pickups from Melt. So I'm going to keep this in the collection. I do enjoy the color story. Gemini, this is the original. I love this color story. It's very grungy, and you've got the browns, tans into the greens. I love a beautiful deep green shade. We just talked about why. And then you have a black to deepen it up. Now there is Gemini 2. This one is more on the burgundy shades, and I'm going to compare them together because at one point they were separate and then they brought them together. I feel like they complement each other, so if you keep one, you keep the other, with the peachy burgundies and then even some more greens here to deepen up and grungify. So I'm keeping both of these palettes. And then we have Mary Jane. And actually what's crazy is this was the first Melt palette I ever purchased. And it was 2.5 years ago now, when I moved back to Virginia. This palette is beautiful though. You have kind of the grungy tans, browns, and the shimmers. So you have more of the gray shimmers, you have all the browns, and kind of a like, this brown has more of like the cool tone. I say that. Do I believe that? It helps me deepen up my neutral eyes. But I am going to swatch the shimmers because they are beautiful. Just, ooh, absolutely stunning. So I am going to keep this. I do like the packaging. Granted, it's raised up a little bit, but there are little like sequins in here that move around and make it glisten. Okay, we are on to Bobbi Brown. The first one is the Tokidoki collaboration. I love that the little like characters, like their faces move around in here. It's so cute. I like this palette. It is very light, neutral. I've worn it to work a couple different times. The shimmers are beautiful. I cannot wear the shimmers to work though. Maybe Honeybee, because it's kind of like a champagne gold, but it's still a little bit deeper than I normally wear for work. The other two, these two are shifts, so I can't, and the burgundy is definitely a little bit darker than I'm allowed to get away with. But you have the pinky shades and the brown, so I can just kind of deepen it up a little bit in the outer corner. Such a cute little palette, and I absolutely love the concept with all the little characters. If you hear the scratching, it's Sochu playing on her tree. But this one will stay. This is the Luxe Eye and Cheek palette. This was a holiday release, I want to say last year. This holiday palette compared to this year's, which we talked about this in the video I did. It's very, like, they're very different. This one, to me, very luxe. This one, not so much. I like this. You have the tan, brown, champagne shimmer, pop of red and gold, and then this in the center. I think that's a highlighter. Yeah, highlighting powder. I love this. You have kind of like a little face palette. You could do whatever you want with it. So I am going to keep this one. And I look at that. It's so beautiful. I feel like they went the extra mile with this palette. This one is the City Glamour. I wanted to love this. When I saw this, I was just like, ooh, that is so gorgeous and stunning. And I really had high hopes for the shimmers because you just saw this palette. And the shimmers are beautiful. They're stunning. However, in this palette for 2023, they're just kind of like, to me, eh. They're pretty. They're just not like, yeah. I'm sad because I just bought this, but I'm getting rid of this. Like, I wanted to love it. I don't. I'm kind of heartbroken, but it's gone. I do have two of these. This is the Ultraviolet palette, and then this one is Infrared. Absolutely love these. Traveled with them on cruises all the time. Black, neutral tannish shades, a bunch of different shimmers. The purpley shades are stunning. So I'm keeping that one. Are we disappointed? I'm not. I love this palette. And then Infrared. So I have the neutral shades, the shimmers, bronze, golds, this, champagne. Oh, stunning. Ooh. And actually, I feel like these are better neutral golds than the palette that I just decluttered from Bobbi Brown. And this one's a couple years old. I also have Love in the Afternoon. This gives me the like elevated vibes. This is a couple years old. This one was from last year. They're very much similar. Just this is paper carton and this is like luxe gold. Like, do we see the similarities? Are we disappointed in either of these? I'm not. You have a lot of matte shades. I really like the peachy pinks, the creams, the shimmers, this champagne, and then the pinky rose gold. I love these. Stunning. So I'm going to keep that one as well. And then Molten Drama. Oh no. Oh no. I do love this palette though. I love this mauve pink for in the crease and the outer corner. The shimmers are stunning. I shattered apparently this brownie scarab shade. Oh no. I'm gonna keep it though. I'm gonna see if I can fix like all the schmattered. Dang it. This should be sitting on my desk just like the Nars one. I'll stay right there. Okay, we do have Smashbox. I have gone and like decluttered all the Smashbox except for these 4. Do I think I'm getting rid of any of them? I don't know. This one is the Hood Witch. I love the packaging. It is really pretty. It kind of gives me the like downgraded version of Bobbi Brown. Like you can tell that this is an acrylic piece glued to the top of a Smashbox palette. Whereas this is like inlaid, but I'm not mad at it. Like they tried. Oh, it's magnetizing to the Bobbi Brown palette. But this palette is quite stunning. The shades, I can't keep it for just the packaging though. I wish I could. But when I look at these shades, and it's not even used, and I've had this for a minute. I'm not even gonna swatch it. They're stunning. It also says apply Mystic Opportunity and Hex Appeal with your finger, not brush, for maximum pigment payoff, which I assume are these 2 shades right here, which look absolutely divine. But I'm going to get rid of this. This one is Major Metals, or Cover Shop Major Metals. Okay, this one is really pretty. It is all shimmers, no mattes. I know I have these shades in other palettes. I am going to get rid of this one. This is Prism Eye Palette. This one I'm not getting rid of. I do have this one matte shade. The rest are shimmers, but there are some really pretty ones. This one's got orange underlay. This one's got purple. I love this, and I reach for it quite a bit when I remember that I have it. So I do need to grab for this a little bit more. And then Smashbox and Vlada. This is the Petal Metal eyeshadow palette. I love this one. You have tan, brown, and a bunch of shimmers. I absolutely love this palette, and it will stay in my collection. So I kept 2. This one from Maybelline. This is the City Mini Palette. I want to keep it. It's cute, but at the same time, I know that they've released newer little eyeshadow palettes. I think I'm going to pass this on. I probably have a couple friends that would be interested in it because they are neutrals with this really pretty pop of burgundy color. And they're so buttery smooth. Oh, for drugstore, stunning. So I am going to pass this on. From NYX, this was their holiday release last year. This is Up to Snow Good. I did get rid of the other one. This actually reminds me of the MAC one I kept earlier. I'm gonna get rid of this one because I do have these shades in my MAC palette that I kept. And I know that there's someone out there that would absolutely love and adore this palette. Look at those shades. Okay, this is the release from NYX for this holiday, the Ultimate Flamingo Frost. This palette is super cute and I love the colors in here, but one of the things I'm kind of disappointed with, because it's not an eyeshadow palette at this point, it's more of like a face palette. The ones that are outlined in red boxes are not meant for the eyes. So the pinky shades, which is definitely something I would use on my eyes, are meant to be on like the cheeks, which makes it the only shades that are meant to be on your eyes for the mattes are the neutral shades, like browns, black, and that orange. So as cute as it is, and I'm still going to keep it because I do like the shimmers that I used. And if you want to see those shades, I did swatch them in the video. It's super cute, but I'm kind of disappointed that it's not necessarily an eyeshadow palette. It's like a face palette. But I am keeping it, and it is so cute. Look at the design of the flamingos. So cute. Sticking with our drugstore, this is the Profusion Friendly Ghost Casper palette. This is a 28 shade palette. I do like the fact that like there's the little like gems in here for Casper, and I loved Casper the movie growing up. This palette, really pretty, some beautiful matte shades, shimmers. You have a couple neutrals, you have the reds, purples, just so many different varieties, and I had so much fun playing with this palette. So for now, I'm gonna keep this. Okay, on to Nomad, and I have quite a few. We're gonna kick it off with the Santa's Village. This was a limited release. By the time I received it in the mail, it was completely sold out. They weren't going to restock it. I do like the shades that are in here. You have 4 different matte shades: red, green, gray, and white. So you can kind of do a little bit with this, but the shimmers, the duochromes, those are where it's at. And I love the colors from Nomad. Ooh, look at those. I never did a video for this, but I did play around with it when I received it, and it's so beautiful. So I'm gonna keep that one. And I love the like Aurora Borealis. Is that what it is? It's so pretty. We have the Okavango Safari. I love this cover. It's kind of like a soft fabric for the leopard. This one came out around the same time as the Yucca palette from Natasha Denona, and there were a lot of comparisons with this. This is a more like brown neutral with pops of green, whereas the Yucca palette is more greens with like pops of brown. And the shimmers are beautiful. I did do a review of this. Palette, including swatches. I love Nomad shimmers, so this is going to stay in the collection. Hudson Valley, I loved the movie Sleepy Hollow when I was growing up, and I would love to get to northern New York where the Hudson Valley is and just go and explore. This palette though, it is 12 shades of matte and then 3 shimmers. I'm not gonna say I'm disappointed. I wish there were more shimmers in here, but the shimmers that are in here are beautiful. You have kind of a yellowy orange, a deeper orange, and then the green. Beautiful shades. And I feel like you have different varieties with the mattes. You've got the greens, the grays, the browns, and the reds. So I feel like you can do some things with this. The Fête de Provence, so France. This palette is so cute. Beautiful for the spring. I love the variety of colors that are in here. The shimmers are absolutely stunning. I did a whole dedicated video to this. Usually I do with the Nomad palettes. If you're interested in what they look like, I did do that video. I don't know that I swatched every single shade. I don't think I was doing full palette swatches at that point, but the shimmers are stunning. Ooh, look at that. Do not sleep on Nomad. They are supposed to be releasing a new palette the middle of January. By the time you see this, it'll be released. Nomad Lodge. This is the Whistler Snow Lodge. I love the blues in here and this cranberry purpley shade along with the green. Every single palette from Nomad, I feel like I just find some beautiful shades in there. I also like that you have more of the deeper browns and green and black, so it can be a little more grungy, or you can have it toned down with some of the more pastel shades. But this palette's super cute, and I love snowboarding. I cannot wait to see some snow this year. Fingers are crossed. The Nomad Berlin Underground. Okay, I have had this palette for a while. I do love the pressings in here. You have the skulls. This palette, I've had it for a while. I don't know that I haven't swatched it. I don't think I've ever used it either. I know I had 2 of these and I did declutter the other one. Let's see. They are still so buttery smooth. You want to talk about some grunge shades. These are where it's at. I need to reach for this and actually play around with it. This would have been beautiful for fall. Oh, stunning, you guys. So keeping that one. No, don't jump up here. Honey. So cute. I'm trying to declutter. You guys. Come here. Get down. You guys, so she's trying to be part of the declutter. This is the Nomad Royal Europe. Each layer is cut out to give the depth and dimension of the gems and stones on here. The palette is beautiful. The shades that are in here, you have the burgundies and greens, just stunning. There are only 5 shimmers for each of the different lines, but I feel like this is a beautiful palette, very colorful, very vibrant. The shimmers do not disappoint, so this one will stay in the collection. I don't know that I'm getting rid of any of my Nomad palettes. Okay, this is the Nomad Verona Amore di Morte. Amore Morte? That's a mouthful. This palette is a little bit different, so you have, what is it, Heaven and Hell? I can't remember. But this is the only one I have where it opens up from the middle and then on, or no, it's Love and Death. I messed that up. So Love is in the middle, Death is in the middle over here. But you have all the reds and the pinks and a very monochromatic moment over here. Whereas on this side, you've got the blues and the purples and the grays. And it's a little more dark and morbid and still seductive and beautiful. The shimmers are quite stunning. This one, Cupid or Comedy, Tragedy, Morse. So beautiful. That is keeping in this, or this is staying in the collection as well. Okay, on to Glamlight, and there's quite a few here. I think there's some that I might be getting rid of in here. All right, so this is the Glamlight Hershey's Milk Chocolate. It is a 12 color palette, a lot of different brown shades. You have a little bit more on the warmer side with a couple of the cool toned. The shimmers are pretty. So you've got the milk chocolate and then you've got the cookies and cream, which is more of like the blue tones. I like the milk chocolate. I don't know that it's my favorite because I do have other palettes that are neutral. Whereas I want to keep the cookies and cream, but I'm going to get rid of this one. All right, these were the drink palettes. And I want to say it was like the cocktail collection or whatnot, but you have wine, chocolate martini, dirty martini, and margarita, all different color stories. So starting with dirty martini, this has more of like the greens and the teals, which I really like, with one brown shade in here. Not mad at it. I do like this color story, so I am going to keep it. Chocolate martini, I think I'm going to keep this over the milk chocolate palette. This has the brown shades, but also some of the purpley tones, and then more of the like burnt orangey red shades. So I'm going to keep this, as well as very beautiful shimmers in here. Margarita. This one I never actually had a chance to use. I meant to use it multiple times and then I just didn't have the opportunity. I love the neon shades in here. So I do want to find time this spring or summer to dive into it, play with the colors, and just get a feel for it before I declutter it. So for right now, it'll stay in the collection. And then the wine palette. This is a predominantly purple palette. I'm not mad at it. I did already declutter a purple palette, so I feel like I'm okay with keeping this one. I do like the drink collection from Glamlight. They have a very like food themed aesthetic. So I am going to keep this for right now, and there are some fun shades in the shimmers. But yeah, this one will stay. Chucky from Glamlight. Okay. This is the Crazy in Love palette. I do love the color story. I used this during Halloween when I forgot what I dressed up as, a vampire. So I do love this color story. It is very goth, grunge, dark, gory type of shades. So this will actually stay in my collection. I had so much fun using this palette multiple times during Halloween and fall, so it is gonna stay. The Barbie Dream Summer palette. I never used this. I really want to play with it and have an opportunity. Glamlight has some beautiful shadows. This will be great for spring, summer. The shimmers in here, these are just all the vibes. So I'm gonna hold on to this for right now. Okay, this is the first collab for Glamlight and Michaela. I do like the packaging. It has like the glitter in here, but it just kind of like gets stuck. This palette is very colorful and pretty. The shimmers are gorgeous, perform beautifully, so buttery smooth. Now, I think, is this part 2 or is this one? I don't know. I know this shade, which is purple, is pot 2. I can't remember which one was first. It might be the green one. So here is this one, and it has the gold front on it. This has the deeper tones, and I really love this. I love the shimmers. I feel like they play well with each other. I don't know that they need to, like, do I need all of these shades? I like the greens, purples, and blues in this, but I also like the more pastel shades in here that I can play around with. So for right now, they're gonna stay. Now on to Beauty Bay. All right, this palette from Beauty Bay, this is Golden Age. I love the neutrals in here. Definitely a palette I can reach for. Their shimmers are so beautiful and perform so well. Buttery smooth, and the price point is phenomenal. They are out of the UK. I love Beauty Bay. This one I'm keeping. It is definitely one of those neutral staples that I need in my collection. The Tropical palette. Okay, I love this palette. I just don't know if I need to keep it. I do like the pinks and the oranges and the yellows, but I feel like I'm not going to reach for this as much as I would another palette that has, you know, greens and blues. So I think I'm going to pass this one on. It is beautiful. I love Beauty Bay. Super affordable, but I think this needs to go to someone else. Love Notes. I love this palette. The purples, the periwinkle blues, the neutral shades. When you look at this, and I can see it, like these 4 are cohesive. These 4 are cohesive. I could even say that about these 6 shades. Just depending on what you're trying to do or what you're trying to use, what shades you're looking for, you kind of have the quadrants in the 4 corners, lighter shades, deeper pinks, the purples, the neutrals. You could even just reach out into the 6. I love this palette, and I'm gonna keep it. New Mod. Okay, yes, and I've got the neon shades in here with the green and the pink. I love this periwinkle shade. I think I used that when I did my video for it. Still have some neutrals, have the pops of colors, have a brown, have a black. I love that. So I'm gonna keep this as well. The Wilderness palette. See, I have the deeper grungy shades as well as the vibrant colors and the shimmers. Oh, I haven't swatched any of their shimmers. I don't know why. They are absolutely stunning. Keeping that one. This is Age of Opulence. I want to say, what was it? A year ago? 2 years ago? This was their holiday release. I love these shades. Beautiful, 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 deep, vibrant shades. You've got the purples, the blues, and then you still have your neutrals in here, and then a black and a brown. Do not sleep on Beauty Bay. Go and pick them up. Look at how beautiful and buttery smooth those are. Keeping that one. Okay, New Romantic. This is why I got rid of the tropical palette, because I still have the reds and the pinks and then the neutral shades and the greens. This palette is beautiful, and I'm gonna keep this over the tropical palette. Retro Love. Oh, see, I love this too. I have such a hard time getting rid of my shadows, especially when I know the quality. Look at how vibrant those shimmers are. I have to keep it. And then Dark Fantasy. I don't remember doing a video with this. Oh, I must have used it at some point because I can see which shades I used. The shimmers are beautiful. I love the darker, deeper shades. So I'm gonna keep this palette as well. Okay, now we're getting into some of the indie brands. This is Sydney Grace. This is the Tiny Marvels palette. I can't, oh, what was her name? What does it say? Okay, so this was Mel Thompson and Sydney Grace. I loved watching Mel's channel. I loved like hearing her opinions, her thoughts, her videos. She was just a beautiful person to watch on YouTube, but she was sick and she did pass away. So they weren't going to release this again. And then after she passed away, they did do a re-release of Tiny Marvels. And the color story is absolutely stunning. So this palette I will keep because I enjoy Sydney Grace as well as I enjoyed watching Mel Thompson. So this palette, and the shimmers are beautiful, the mattes are stunning. This palette as well as, and this is Sydney Grace eyeshadows. It's not like a, what were they, Z palettes. This one I got off of Amazon because they put a palette, this color story was curated by Mel Thompson on her channel, and then they ended up releasing it as a collection. I didn't remember to purchase the palette itself and put it in my shopping cart, but I did order all of the shadows. So, and I went and looked at the picture from the inspiration and put it in the order that she had curated it. So both of these are going to stay. If you haven't tried out Sydney Grace, go check out their shadows. They are stunning. You can buy them individually. You can buy them in the palette. Just, I love the concept because sometimes you don't love all the shades that you have, but if you can buy them individually and make your own palette, I feel like that's a great concept. These three are from Sydney Grace as well, and they were done with Temptalia. So the three palettes together make a design, if you can see it. Also, when released, there were light shades and dark shades. They all have different color stories. The shades are stunning, and I'm not getting rid of any of them. But the color stories, look how vibrant and beautiful they are. Like this shade, the Milky Way, oh, so buttery. Look how stunning. Go check out Sydney Grace if you haven't. I highly recommend. This is On the Horizon. Look at those shades. I feel like you can see it better this way. And then Radiant Reflection. I love this. And you still have some of like the forest greens, the blues, the burgundies. I definitely need to play with this more. I know I've used this shade, which is Dearest Constant, and then Persephone's for work, and absolutely stunning. This one from Stila. I love Stila, the liquid eyeshadows, so beautiful. This is the Blue Realm Velvet Eyeshadow Palette, and this is the only one I have from Stila. I just don't reach for this, and I've had it for a couple of years. The shimmers are pretty, and these two neutrals, the only matte shades in the palette, are beautiful. I just don't reach for it. Only because I can't use these shimmers for work. Granted, I could use this shade for work in the crease and the outer corner. I think I'm going to pass this on because I'm sure there is someone out there that would absolutely love this. It is kind of hefty and has some weight to it. But for this palette to only have 6 shades, I wish I reached for it more. I just don't. So I'm going to pass that on. This was the collaboration between Kathleen Lights and Il Makiage. I love the concept. They sent little stickers and you could decorate it how you wanted to. Ooh. This is the Disco Fox Pressed Pigment Palette. I don't know that I like the concept of this just not really having a reason to be there. It is a pretty palette. It does have the neutral shades, the purple, the peach, and then a bunch of different shimmers. I don't know that it's my favorite palette though. I do like those shimmers though. And I love Kathleen Lights. So I'm gonna hold on to it for right now. Tres Luce La Flora de Mexico. Okay, I do love Tres Luce and the makeup that I've tried from them. I like the palette, I like the color story. I don't know that I'm in love with it. And I have just kept a whole bunch of palettes that have similar shades. Ooh, am I gonna get rid of this? See, they're pretty, it's just, it's not, like, I have some shimmers that just stand out more. I think I'm gonna pass this one on. I'm sure I have a friend that would love this. Okay, earlier when I was talking about the Huda Beauty palette and the dupe, this is Alter Ego and their Mirage palette. Oh, it's the Empowered palette that they duped. I did a video, I compared both of them. I did Mirage on one eye, I did Empowered on another eye. So you could see, compare, contrast. I love my Huda Beauty palette and I did spend some money on it. I do have a friend who's actually asked me for this palette and their price point is phenomenal. If you're not wanting to spend the money on a Huda Beauty palette because it's makeup and not everyone wants to spend that kind of money on it, you can go to Alter Ego's website and they have multiple palettes that are out there very similar to more expensive brands. So I am going to pass this on to my friend who requested it. There's not a reason to keep both palettes. And because it was requested for this one, I'm going to pass it on to her. Okay, I have Moira. This is the Endless Moonlight Celestial Series palette. This was my first palette from Moira. Super affordable. I don't know that I like the bulky packaging, but their eyeshadows and palettes are stunning. I bought this one first because of the neutral. You have some warm tones, you've got some cool tones, the browns, the grays. This is stunning and I have used it for work. I do enjoy the quality of their eyeshadows. Just overall, their releases have been amazing. So I am going to keep this in my collection. I have the Magic Dreaming. This is the Moira Land series palette. There is another one that came out with it. It does have the little sleeve that has like the design for the Ferris wheel and all that. I love this color story. It's very pretty. You have the neutrals, you have the pastels, you have some beautiful shimmers, some deeper shades. So I am going to keep this one. And then Fun is in the Air. Also, if you want to see swatches, I did swatch both of these palettes in a video a couple months ago. I love this one because you have the neon shades. You even have some lighter neutrals and the shimmers are phenomenal. But look at these. I am in love with the neon shades. So I'm gonna keep this. And I wanna say when I purchased both palettes, when I bundled them, it was so much more affordable than buying them individually. So definitely like compare and contrast when you're purchasing from Moira and the different bundles that they have on their site. Blood Money, it is a green trunk. It looks like one of the trunks that you would have traveled with back in the day. One of the steam trunks. It is an all green palette with browns and some black shades in here. It is a beautiful palette. It is really pretty. I just don't reach for it. I've used it a couple times. But I'm also going to get rid of this one. On to the Orgy palettes. These two came out at the same time. This Orgy palette is all mattes. It is every single matte shade you could possibly need, especially if you are a professional makeup artist. You have all of them, from black to deep brown to lighter browns to tans, nudes, just you name it, you got it in here. But if you like shimmers, you also needed the supplemental Orgy palette. And this is actually a redistribute because the original, some of them just didn't perform. But it is a 9-pan shimmer palette. These I'm going to keep because I feel like I can definitely get some use out of it. More realistically, I'm going to use this for work. And then I can definitely do some of the latte makeup with this palette. I do use it quite a bit, or well, I did use it quite a bit. I just need to put it on a shelf where I'm going to reach for it a little bit more. But I do love these two palettes. The Jawbreaker palette, so beautiful, so vibrant. I love the shades in here. I don't necessarily reach for all of them. There are some neon palettes that I kept that have more vibrant shades in there. So also I haven't used this palette, honestly. I'm going to pass this on because there is a friend out there that I have, or a friend of a friend, that is going to get some use out of this. I just know that I literally just kept a bunch of neon palettes that are more vibrant and bold. So this is going to get passed on. The Cremated palette. This is a very cool toned, dark, just you name it, it's in here. Grays, beiges, black. It's beautiful. I am going to keep this one. I do love the cool tone shades. So I've got the warm tones with the Orgy palette, and then I've got the cool tones with the Cremated palette. And then I do like the fact that I have a couple shades in here that I can use for work if I want to be on the cool tone side. And then I love these two shimmers right here. They're stunning. Okay. The Alien palette. I have gone back and forth on this palette. It's awkward. Look at the eyes. They just protrude. Can you see that? There's really no way to store this palette. It's not convenient in any way. I do like the color story. I love some of these shades in here, especially the tans, the mauve pink. I have the hardest time trying to store this palette. So because I know I have these shades in other palettes, I am going to pass the Alien palette on. Okay, this is volume 2 for Jaclyn Hill. Ooh, this is pretty. I like this color story more than I did the original. I want to say this is like a reformulation. I do like the shimmers that are in here as well as the neutral shades. I'm going to keep this one over the original. Bronze Goals. I loved this palette. I do still have the bronzer that's in this packaging, I think. Or maybe did I get rid of the orange packaging and keep the black packaging? I can't remember. I do like this palette and I used it quite a bit. I'm gonna hold on to this one. It is beautiful for fall, especially because you have more of the subdued grungy shades and then you've got the bronze. It is stunning. So I'm gonna hold on to this for right now. Like I said, I still don't like the plastic sheet that has the names on it, but we're keeping it. All right, 35XO. Oh, this is all pinks and neutral shades. I have something similar to this from Colourpop and I love that palette. I'm gonna pass this one on. Okay, Artist Pass 24A. Oh, yes. I absolutely love this palette. The thing is, I like the shimmers. I like the vibrant shades, but you don't really have like the yellowy tan, orange, a couple brown shades, and then just the shades of the rainbow. And then 6 pressed glitters, 7? No, that's a pressed glitter too. Oh, you really have to press into it. But they're pretty. I think I'm gonna pass this one on. Okay, we are on to Ofra. I think this is the only one I have from it. It's the Symphony palette. I love Ofra highlighters. This palette is cute. I don't know that it's my favorite, and really I think I held on to it because of this shade right here, which is also a highlighter. It is Blissful, and I like it, but I know I also kept all their palettes that had similar shades, so I think I'm gonna get rid of this because I do have the Blissful highlighter in a highlighter palette. I did find another Morphe palette. This one is all of the shimmers. And they're cute. Pressed glitters, shimmers, not a single matte in here. I know I have similar shades in other brands, so I'm going to get rid of this one. The Selena palette from MAC. It's a different size, which is why it was with other stuff. This palette is not going anywhere. It does have, you know, the inner, what is it? The inner sheet that has Selena on it. And then the shades are beautiful. I've used this multiple times. I do like the matte shades that are in here. The shimmers are quite stunning. Still so creamy and smooth. I love these. So I am going to keep this palette. Mostly nostalgia, but I do reach for it and use it once in a while. I found 2 more Dose of Colors. This is the Truffle palette. It does have that soft matte velvet feel. I like the color story, but I have these shades in other palettes. The shimmers are okay. They're not my favorite. They're just, I like it. I'm not in love with it. So I'm going to pass this on because I know that there's a friend out there that would love this palette. And then this was my first Dose of Colors palette. This was the Desi and Katie Friendcation. I love the packaging on this. It is so beautiful and sparkly and shiny, and the palette itself, beautiful neutral shades. I love this shimmer. I'm absolutely in love with it. Even these pops of color and these shimmers are beautiful. So this palette is going to stay in my collection. I have 2 from Milani. This one is the Gilded Getaway. Look at how cute this packaging is. The little camper. And then I have the 2 tan shades and then a bunch of burgundy, red, some pops of green and blue. Such a cute palette, and I had fun doing this video. I think I filmed it when I was back in Chicago, but I really like this one, so I'm going to keep it. And then the Milani Gilded Flora. This palette, when I open it, it's going to remind you of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette. Like 100% reminds me of that. Even kind of, there's a Huda Beauty palette that kind of looks like this. But this is so beautiful, and I do like my drugstore formulations, so I am going to keep this palette. Look how stunning those shimmers are. You can't beat that from the drugstore. I knew I had another Hip Dot palette. I couldn't remember where it was at. This is the Cenote.
It is predominantly blues and greens with some peachy tones, brown. I love this pop of yellow right here. Absolutely stunning. I don't know that I need to keep it, but they're still so buttery smooth. I think I'm gonna pass this on. I do like Hip Dot. I do like the palettes that I kept, but I just haven't reached for this and I've had it for a little while. Okay, we're on to Odin's Eye. They are a Swedish indie brand. The chapter 2 for Saga Freya. This is Cat with Golden Carriage. I love the artwork on this. And it's still like green and oranges, but they're all three part of a collection. So keeping that one. Okay, I have the Solman 2. It has a sleeve. It doesn't want to come out. This color story is so beautiful, vibrant. You just have some lighter shades, deeper shades, beautiful shimmers. I love this palette, so I'm gonna keep it. The Jewels and Gem, and then of course the Stone and Rock. These two came out together. And I think I posted on my stories and let everyone choose what palette I used that day. So this is the Jewels and Gem. I love this. You got the purples, some of the deeper greens. The shimmers are stunning. I love this palette. Their artwork is phenomenal. And then Stone and Rock is more of like the mossy greens and tans, and I'm here for it. This is the Elva eyeshadow palette. I don't know if I think someone said there was like 2 different formulations. I'm not completely sure. I love this. I've reached for it for work a couple different times because I love the mauve shades in here, and then the champagne and pinky shades are beautiful. I do love this purple. Ooh, look at those. Absolutely stunning. And then the Norns palette. This has some of your deeper shades, burgundies, browns. I love this green, but the shimmers, I'm in love. Look how stunning. So obviously I'm keeping this one. I have a stack of, I have like 1 or 2 from each of these brands. We're gonna start with Nabla. This is the nude, side by side nude palette. I wanna say I got this in a subscription box. I don't think I purchased it. Neutral shades, I love the Nabla formulation. I need to reach for this more. For being neutral shimmers, they're stunning. Look at those. I need to put this on my desk so I can use it for work. But I am going to keep that one. The Lorac Pro Palette in Meraki. I just got this in a subscription box. It does have the neutral shades. I haven't used it yet. I don't know why I didn't use it and just put it straight into the bookshelf. But I have all the neutral shades that I could possibly need, as well as some really pretty buttery shimmers. Ooh. Champagne, rose gold, and a deep chocolatey brown. Love this. I think someone said that Lorac is sold at Kohl's. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. All right, I have 2 of the Danessa Myricks Lightwork palettes. This one is last year's, and this one was just released the end of 2023. I absolutely love her eyeshadows, the shimmers, and it tells you the different types of formulations that are in here. This one and this one are water activated, so they could be like metallic liners, but the quality and the shades, breathtaking. I do have a full video on this palette as well as the Lightwork palette from this year. And this year she actually split the ones in the center in twos. So it gave you more options when it came to your shades. This video actually just went up. By the time you see this, it'll be a couple weeks. So if you want all the shades, if you want all the swatches, go check out that video. It is so beautiful, and I think I bought this one. Sephora had a sale because they are a little pricey, but definitely worth it. This is the Dear Mom palette from Jaclyn, which she just announced that she is closing down, Jaclyn Cosmetics. This palette, I'm torn. It does have neutral shades, things that I would reach for. Let's see. The shimmers are buttery smooth. I don't know that they're my favorite though. And I don't reach for this as much as I thought I would. Ooh, I think I'm gonna get rid of it. That one's a tough one. I've only used it, I think, once or twice. I just don't reach for it as much as I do my other neutral palettes. Okay, this is Volume 1 Tati Beauty. She was going to put out more palettes and things happened. Life happens. Tati Beauty is no longer a brand, but her eyeshadows are breathtaking, and there's different variations. So this row is mattes. You've got sequins, which are mattes with glitter. You have metallics, and then you have the pressed glitters. And then each row is a variation of shades. So Memory is your black into your gunmetal. You've got Ritual, which is all your neutral browns. You've got Soothe, which is your tan shades. So you have a little bit of everything. You've got your burgundies and your burnt oranges. I love this. I absolutely love this palette, and I do reach for it. I need to reach for it some more. But let's see. We'll swatch a couple of the shimmers, and then we'll swatch the pressed glitters. Look at those. Absolutely breathtaking. So I will not be getting rid of the Tati Beauty. And I love the huge mirror in here. From One Size, this is the Disney Fantasia palette. I love Disney. Now, this palette itself, so there is a mirror and it just kind of like pops up, and there's the little pop-up of Mickey. This palette has 2 blushes, blush toppers, and then eyeshadows. I love that. Now, is it my favorite? I don't reach for this quite as often as I should. I kind of wish that this shade Broomstick wasn't kind of like a mustard tan. It just doesn't look right on my skin tone. I like this. I really like the blushes though too. I think I'm gonna hold on to it for right now. If I don't reach for it more this year, then I'll declutter it the next time. But for right now, I am going to hold on to it. From BePerfect, this is the Rain palette. This was makeup by Alina. I ordered this, I received it, and then I never got a chance to use it. I need to though. The shades are beautiful. There's a couple neutrals. There's definitely pops of color. These shimmers, and they're so buttery smooth. And then you even have like the pressed glitters in here too. Look at that. So I feel like I need to keep this and actually reach for it, but it is quite stunning. All right, Iconic London. This is the Desk to Dance eyeshadow palette. I know my last declutter, I got rid of pretty much all of my Iconic London ones, but I kept this one because it had, and weird enough, there's only 4 matte shades. The rest are all shimmers, but it had more like purpley and orangey tones, vice browns. They are beautiful. And the metallic palette is not helping out with the colors. They are stunning, and since it is my only iconic London palette right now, I'm going to hold on to it just for now and see if I reach for it again this year. Okay, I have another stack of palettes that I have a few from these brands. Kicking off with She Glam. So this is the Enchanted Deco Dance color palette. This was their holiday release. Was it this year? Last year? I don't know if I ordered their holiday release this year. Neutral shades, a couple shimmers. I really like this. Mostly mattes, so I definitely have the opportunity. I want to keep this, but I feel like I kept a lot of neutral palettes, and I'm sure that I have someone out there that would love to have this palette. The shimmers in here, so you've got kind of a suede black, you've got a smoky brown, and then a champagne shade. So you do have a variety for a small palette. And then of course the red and the green. But I think I'm going to pass this on. And then the Corpse Bride. I really love this packaging. It's got the bluish, the white lace with the blue background. And I love the Corpse Bride. This is an predominantly cool toned blue, tan, and gray palette. And the shimmers are beautiful. Just kind of like a wash of color. So I am going to hold on to this one for right now. Formula Z Cosmic Glitz. This was actually a gift from a friend. And I love the shades in here. So the shimmers are stunning. And then you have Saturn and Eclipse. This is kind of like that sequin shade that Tati had in hers. You have a pressed glitter, shimmers. Ooh, for now I'm keeping this. Especially because it was a gift. Beauty for Real Golden Hour. I want to say, yep, I kept this for the shimmers. Absolutely stunning. This one, Pink Sands. Look how beautiful that is. And then even the turquoise. So I'm going to keep this. And I do like that the matte shades, I have a variety to keep it as light as I want or deepen it up with the orange and the darker brown. So keeping that. Ciate London. This is the Velvet palette. I want to keep this just for the shimmers, but I don't know. It's a pretty color story. I think I'm going to get rid of it though. All right, now I have Lethal Cosmetics. So this one I just picked up a couple months ago. And so all their palettes are the ones where you can pop out their shades and buy them individually or fill your pan however you want. These are all of their like duochrome shimmers. The palette is stunning. I love these shimmers. I do have a video using this. Definitely go check that out. Anything that Lethal has, I love their stuff, and they are an indie brand. I don't remember which palette this was, but it has all of the bright shades as well as the beautiful shimmers. I never got a chance to use this when I purchased it. I was in the middle of moving, but their shimmers are so buttery smooth and stunning. So I'm gonna keep this one. I want to say it was like a 90s palette. These two were released separately. So I have the Nightflower and Wildflower. Wildflower came out first. You could buy it as a palette or you could buy them individually. Wildflower has some beautiful shades. I did do a video on this one as well as the Nightflower. So you got the lighter, brighter tones, you got the deeper, darker tones. These two together are so beautiful, kind of create that cohesive palette. I do like the fact that they're currently like magnetizing to themselves or to each other, but these palettes are staying in the collection and they are stunning. Like I said, if you want to see the swatches, go check out those videos. They are beautiful. Okay, now we're on to a couple other brands. Charlotte Tilbury. So I have these two, or these four from Charlotte. This one is the Pillow Talk Dreams palette. So I had purchased this And then I also received it when I was at Sephora, so this palette ended up in a giveaway. I love it because it's neutral. I have the rose gold shade, I've got a champagne shade. It just kind of gives me a cohesive, like, neutral glam look, if that's what I'm going for. I can also use it for work because of the light shades. I do love this little quad. This was her holiday release. It is the Beautyverse palette. You have 4 matte shades and then 5 shimmers. I love the shimmers. I just did a video on this for like November timeframe. Definitely go check it out if you're looking to see what it looks like swatched. I know that it is still available on her site as of right now. And she just released the Glowgasm palette as well as a new one for, was it Lunar New Year? So I love Charlotte Tilbury, and I love the packaging. Look at this, it's so stunning. This is the Instant Eye Smoky Eyes Are Forever palette. I love this. Each of these shades are, when you look at the sheet, it tells you like which shades are where you're supposed to put them, but they're all broken up into 3 different. So this is Love Eyes, Power Eyes, Happy Eyes, and Confident Eyes. I love this palette. Do I stick with the 3 shades that they recommend? No, not really. I'll do the tan, the brown from Confident, and then I'll use one of the shimmers from Love Eyes. That's the great thing with palettes. There's some recommendations, but you get to choose how you play with them. And I'm gonna keep this because I love the shades. And then the Jeweled Eyes. I love this palette. Also broken down the same way. So you've got Happy Glow, Love Glow, Dream Glow, and Seduce Glow. Same thing, I'll use this deeper brown here, I'll use this tan here, I'll use one of the shimmers from the center. I love this, and you're not stuck with just boring neutral shades. You've got the purple, you got the burgundy. You can have so much fun with the different shades. So keeping that as well. Plus, Charlotte's a little on the expensive side. And I think I bought both of these when they were on sale. All right, so I have Laura Lee. We'll start with the Nudie Patootie palette. This was my first one I ever picked up. I love the quality of her shimmers. I love the different colors in here. They are all very nude and pale, which is nice because I can definitely reach for this for work. And then I still have this pinky shade that's not like too overbearing. And currently the metallic is messing with my lighting, sorry. But the shimmers are so buttery smooth and beautiful, and I'm going to hold on to this palette. As well as Nudie number 2, which was released a couple of years later, or a year later. You still have the nude-ish shades. I say nude with air quotations. They are a little bit deeper, which is okay, and I appreciate that. And then this pink in the peachy shade gives a little bit of color depth, but you've got the beautiful neutral shimmers, which I'm in love with. This was her collab with her niece, Erin Weaver, Candy Skies. I love this palette. It is so beautiful and colorful. For some reason, the purple is doing this weird like magenta bleed, but the shimmers and the matte shades still perform beautifully. I still have my pastels. I've got some deeper shades. Love this, so I'm keeping that. And then that brings us into Lunar Beauty, which is also Laura Lee and Manny MUA, who owns Lunar Beauty, are like best friends. This is Full Fantasy, which was their collaboration between their brands. First off, look at the packaging. It is stunning. But definitely an addition to the neutrals. I do reach for this palette quite a lot. I love the tan shades, and then I can use some of the champagnes for work. Whereas if I come home and I want to escalate it a little bit, I can actually grab for the deeper shades to amplify and spice it up. But I do love this palette. Nude Prism. This one I think I received in a subscription box. And I'm so glad that I did. Why is it... Guys, I had it upside down. Look at the moon. It is so beautiful. And the cherry blossoms. But Nude Prism is one of my favorites. So you have mattes on the top and the bottom, and then you have all the shimmers in the middle. And the names are different things that mean something to Manny, and then his friends as well. So Laura's in here, Sam. I love this because you can go with a lighter neutral, you can deepen it up a little bit. It is a beautiful nude palette and I love this. The most recent release, this is Siren Sunset, and this is where you're going to get your colorful shades. I love this packaging. But you get your purples, blues, teals. You do have your neutrals, so it's staying true to that. And I feel like this is a beautiful color story, especially if you like some of the deeper, grungier shades with the greens and the purpley burgundy. So I'm going to keep that. And then I only have one of the Moonspell books. I do love this packaging. And it just looks like your own little magic book. In here you have all of the colorful shades, and each of the shades are named for different witches that you might know from different TV shows. Samantha, Paige, you know, the witches from Charmed. And I Dream of Jeannie? No, Bewitched. Have to go back to my later witch days. But the color story is beautiful. The shimmers are stunning. The gold is doing something with my lighting, but it is a beautiful eyeshadow palette. And then we have BH Cosmetics. So these little palettes, they were one of their last releases I picked up before they announced that they were shutting down, but I think BH Cosmetics is back now. I can't keep track. I can't. So this is Let That Go. You can read. This is a really pretty palette with the greens and the tans, and then the shimmers are stunning. So when I purchased this, I think it was all 6 of them. I only kept 2 of them, so this one's gonna stay. As well as Do Not Disturb. And this one kind of has the blues and the purples. I haven't used this one, and I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. Because it's still sealed, it might end up on my Poshmark. I'll link my Poshmark down below if I post anything there, so if you're interested in picking up any of the palettes, you can. I have the BH Cosmetics Aurora Lights. This is their baked shadows, and I just recently used this. I think we used it for Pride, but they are absolutely stunning. I will not be getting rid of this palette. Look how beautiful those are. So that one's gonna stay. This is the Take Me to Ibiza palette. I love how bright and colorful it is. And the shades are stunning. So even if you want to keep it neutral, you still have your tan, your browns, a black, but then you have all the pops of color. And I absolutely love this. So I am going to keep it. This is Desert Oasis. This was actually my first BH Cosmetics palette. Oh, this was my go-to neutral palette when I was in Great Lakes. And I absolutely love it. I've got my tan, I've got a deeper brown, and then I have the pops of color if I wanted to like snazz it up a little bit. But I mostly stayed in this shade or this pinky shade, and then I would use these for like highlighters. And I say eyeshadow palette, I want to say this is a face palette. Yep, it's a 19 color shadow and highlighter palette. So, and highlighters can be eyeshadows, not a big deal, but I am going to keep this one. Okay, we are on to Lunar Beauty. I've received both of these in subscription boxes. This is the Sweet Escape. I absolutely love the shimmers in here. Oh, look at that. I do like that it is a predominantly neutral palette with a couple pops of purple, and I'm going to keep this. I do love their eyeshadows. Definitely something that I can grab for work or if I want to amplify it later on down the road. Definitely keeping that one. And the Wanderer's Escape. Neutral, pops of color with the shimmers, and they're so buttery smooth. So I'm going to keep this one as well. Pure and Barbie. I love the packaging on this. Now, I have kept this palette in the past because of the packaging. I like it. It's not my favorite. I love the shimmers. This pink one is phenomenal. But when I look at the two neutral matte shades that are in here, this one's a little more on the yellow side than I like. This actually pains me to say, but I'm gonna get rid of it. And I love this. It is like stones and rocks and just beautiful shades of pink. But I can't continue to keep everything just for packaging. The one Makeup Revolution palette that I have. Beautiful neutral palette is the only one that I've saved from Makeup Revolution. The shimmers are stunning and very buttery smooth. The thing is, as much as I want to keep this, it only has one matte brown shade that I use for work. The pink and then the tan, I don't really reach for them. The shimmers are breathtaking and stunning. I've just kept so many neutral palettes. I think I'm gonna declutter this one out of my collection. Violet Voss Sakura Blossom. I just got this in a subscription box earlier this year before Barbie movie came out, which was perfect timing because I used this for that, you know, get ready with me, and then we went to the movie together. I'm keeping this. It is all the shades of pink that I need, plus some brown shades. I still love this, and the quality of Violet Voss shadows are beautiful and breathtaking. So I am keeping this for now. I mean, who doesn't need an all pink eyeshadow palette? Oh, I found another Pure. This one I've had for a little while. This is Festival. I think I got this when I first started my channel back in 2018, and it was in a subscription box. The metallic packaging is not helping with lighting, I'm sorry. I like the neutral shades. This corally pink shade I really love, and then even the teals and the champagne shimmers. I do love this palette, so I'm gonna keep this one. This is Cleona. It was a collab with Emily Violet Marie. This is a dragon fruit palette. I love Cleona shadows, and they are an indie brand. I did, however, like break the lid on my, I'm not gonna pull it apart because I've done some damage to it, but it works. This is an all shimmer palette. I do have a video review for this. It is absolutely stunning, and I am not getting rid of this. I will probably pick up some more Cleona eyeshadows this year. I love picking them up in palettes because it's more cost effective that way, but you can buy their shadows individually. And I love this. I love the color story. I do still have a champagne, I have a white, and then you have all the beautiful colors in between. So I am gonna keep this one. So this is Alien Cosmetics Fall Magic. They are now Unearthly Cosmetics, but this palette is not leaving my collection. Look at how beautiful that is. It's stunning for fall. The shimmers are breathtaking. So there's 5 shimmers, the rest are mattes, and I feel like there's a variety for everyone. They're so buttery smooth. Another indie brand. Definitely go check out Unearthly Cosmetics. They are a little more on the expensive side, but that is usually the case with indie brands because it takes more to produce limited amounts of palettes. They're not like the big corporate companies, but it's so worth it because the quality of their shadows is breathtaking. Okay, you guys, we only have 3 more brands to get through, and we are gonna kick this off with all of the Juvia's Place. I really do enjoy my Juvia's palettes. This one is the Rebel Mints. It's so cute. It's a little 4-pan. I got rid of the other 3 of the Rebels, but I kept this one. And I'm gonna keep it because I love the colors in here, and they are so beautiful. And Juvia's Place has some of the best pigmented eyeshadows. Shimmers, mattes, can't go wrong. The Chocolates by Juvia. I love the artwork on all of their palettes. And I use this for my birthday. I really love this. Beautiful shimmers. These 2 right here are absolutely stunning. So keeping that one. Sweet Pinks. This one, if you need a pink monochromatic moment, that's this. These shimmers are stunning, and I love this palette. I have done a full monochromatic moment with this. So keeping that one. Bronzed Rustic. This one also came out with Blushed Rose. Ooh, I love these shades. I cannot guarantee I'm getting rid of any of my Juvia's palettes. That one's staying. Blushed Rose. Ooh, I really like this one. This beautiful pink and the orange. Ooh, yep. Taupes by Juvia's. See, and I really like this. I love their cool tone shades. Ooh, I could use this for work. I'm leaving this out so I can use it tomorrow. This was the collaboration with Vanessa. What was her last name? Just says Vanessa. I purchased this and never used it, and I really need to. The shades are stunning. Look at like the crushed pearl shimmer. Ooh. We have the violets. Keeping that one. You have 4 shimmers and 2 mattes. Like, I can get behind that. The berries. See, and this with the sweet pinks. Let's see. Oh yeah, perfect. I feel like they'd play well with each other. I Live, I Love Ice, and then there is the I Live, I Love. So, okay, I love the teals, and I want to say I had some issues with this one only because this one is so pale that it barely showed up. But the shimmers are absolutely stunning. This shade was so beautiful. I'm keeping both of them. The Nubian Earth. Look at that. I love the artwork. This is a beautiful neutral palette. I absolutely reach for this for work. Keeping that one. I had the little mini Nubian. I had a couple of them. So I did get rid of the tinier one and kept the larger. And it's so beautiful. You have the browns, the tans. I've got some of the shimmers that I can use for work. This one right here for sure because it's kind of a champagne shade. But if I want to deepen it up after work, I absolutely have the ability to do that with this. I want to say this is one of the first palettes I bought from Juvia's. Nubian 3 Coral. This color story is so beautiful. I actually took this with me traveling. Ooh, when? I know I traveled with this recently, and I really love the shades. I'm still in love with it. It's very corally, but then you still have some cool tones, and it actually gives it a different dynamic that I wasn't expecting. The Saharan. Oh, I like this. I love the shimmers. And I like that there's a tan, a black, and then you have this like corally orange and, yeah, a burnt orange, a coral orange. So I think I'm going to keep this one. I do need to play around with it. I think I can do this shade in Zoya or even Lulu for work. The Nomad. She is stunning. And you've got kind of a grungy neutral palette. You've got the green, the olive, the brown. I absolutely love this. I love the yellows. I purchased this and never got a chance to play with it, but I need to. This is Warrior. When I first saw Juvia's and how big their pans were, I was like, oh my goodness, no one needs that big of a pan. But if you wear neutrals, and I need to reach for this, I think this is gonna go on my desk as well. This champagne shade right here, and I don't know if the gold is like messing with the color story, but I feel like this is definitely a palette I could get behind. And because I kind of need a lighter tan shade for work, I could use this shade Kano and Ahosi. I think that's how you say it. I'm really sorry if it's not. I could mix those two to make a lighter shade and have a lot of fun with this for work. But look at this chocolatey brown. Ooh, those are stunning. The Magic Mini. Beautiful colors. I love how bright and bold these are. The shimmers in here are stunning. Ooh, those are so beautiful and colorful. I'm keeping that one. Okay, when I bought this one, I fell in love with this artwork. The candy shop. I want to be here for Halloween one day because I can't wear my hair like this for work. But she is beautiful. And then the color story is so beautiful and bright and vibrant. Ooh, look at that. I had so much fun playing with this palette. It's gonna stay in my collection for a while. Same with Garden of Juvia's, and this one's more on the pastel. Absolutely beautiful. I love the shimmers and the pastel shimmers. This is why I was okay with getting rid of my Huda pastel palettes and keeping this one and the Natasha Denona. Beautiful. Well, Hala 2, I actually had a friend who tried to take this because of the shimmers in here. She was like, hey, if it comes up missing, it's not in my collection. I was like, okay, Casey. But the colors in here are beautiful. You've got the blues, the teals, the chocolatey browns right here, and then some pops of color with the purple and pinks. And then even the cool tone with the silvers. I feel like this is a fun palette. And then the last one I have, this is Culture. And I think they just released a Culture too. Actually, is it in my new makeup drawer? I bet it is. It's in my new makeup drawer and I haven't used it yet, you guys. So this is Culture with some amazing, beautiful shades. I absolutely had fun playing with this palette. That one is staying, as well as I still need to use Culture 2. Look at this shade, Lagos, or Afro Beats, Omeg. Oh, even Yoruba. Look at these duo chromes. They're so beautiful. If you need a brand that can kill it with colors and chromes and shifts, but still have a beautiful price point and not break the bank, Juvia's place. For sure. Okay, we are on to Kylie, and there's not a lot, but the last brand I have is atrocious, and I have too many of them. So we're gonna knock out Kylie real quick and see what I'm keeping. All right, so I had these two little mini Kylie palettes. These were a holiday release. I love the cool tone browns, and even the shimmers in here are so beautiful. So I'm gonna keep that one. And it doesn't say what the names are. It's just Kylie. And then this one. Okay, see, I can grab for this for work. And they're still really pretty. The golds aren't necessarily a shade I go for work, but I could still get away with it because of the neutral palette. So I think I'm gonna keep this on my desk to use in the next couple days. Okay, these two were released recently. This is her new formulation. And it doesn't say like what the names of the palettes are. This one, okay, so this is all the brown shades. See, and I reach for neutrals a lot, so I think I'm gonna keep this one for right now. Oh, so that's the other thing. Like the text on this is pinky, so this is like the mauves and pink shades. See, and it's still kind of neutral, so I can definitely reach for this, but it has the pink pops right here. They're so buttery smooth, you guys. Look at that. Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this one as well. This one, it just says Kylie in the Phantom font. See, and I like this color story. Kendall by Kylie. Okay, I wanna keep this one, but I feel like I have similar shades in one of her big palettes. So this is her one that she released for her birthday. Okay, maybe not. Okay, I thought I was, dang it. I thought I was gonna be getting rid of them because of colors. I think I'm gonna keep these two. So this was her 24 for her birthday, and then this one was the one with her sister Kendall. So I'm gonna keep those two, but this might be an unpopular opinion. I I do know that I'm going to get rid of the Wizard of Oz. I love the movie The Wizard of Oz. I was so excited for this palette. It's cute. I like the poppies. It's not my favorite palette. I just don't reach for it like that. There's some neutral shades in here. The colors, they're beautiful. There's a blush and a highlighter. It's just, I don't reach for it. I feel like I'd reach for the other ones more. So I am gonna get rid of this one. This Kylie was also, I think, a holiday, or no, it was her birthday. So this one is neutral, but I get more of like the orangey reds and then some of these other shimmers. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one as well. It's cute. I used other ones. This was a Valentine's release. Yeah. I am gonna keep this one. It does have the really pretty pinks and I love this little like neon orange and then the coral. So I'm gonna keep this one. Kylie and Nightmare on Elm Street. I was actually really surprised about this. Also, I think this was released late. I can't remember. The palette, it's got the reds. I like the glittery, shimmery shade in here, the green for his shirt. And I do like that there's also some neutrals, the pink, the tan, the like brownish. So I'm gonna keep this one because I still have like the pops. I wish there was like a darker brown in here, but that's just preference. Cocoa by Kylie. Another beautiful neutral palette. I do love the shimmers that are in here. I do like the pop of pink, but I also feel like I can get a lot of use out of this. So I will keep this one. You're So Money Baby. This was one of her birthday releases, I think. And I love that this is a predominantly mauve palette. It does have the browns in there. I love the greens and all the pink shimmers. So this one will stay. Okay, Kylie and the Grinch. I didn't see this one coming. Am I happy about it? Yes. I love the Grinch. And I love that this is a predominantly neutral palette with pops of green, some pinks, some white green shifts. Those are so pretty. So I'm gonna keep that. The Kylie palette, I feel like she releases most of her palettes around her birthday. And they don't have names, it's just Kylie Jenner. But this was her nautical themed one for her birthday. Neutrals, I love the blue and the red in here. It just gives me navy vibes. This shade Deep Sea, which is gold with glitter in it, is absolutely stunning. So I do get a lot of use out of it. You can see that I've used the neutral shades. This probably needs to go on my desk to reach for more. But I'm gonna hold on to this one as well. And then Kylie and Rudolph. I love the Rudolph releases I've had from, I think it's Colourpop, but I love Christmas. So Grinch, Rudolph, I'm here for it. And I think I'm gonna keep this one. Neutrals, mauves, and shimmers. I'm absolutely in love. Let's see, Santa's Helper, Fantastic, Forest Fawn, and really pretty. So I will keep those. Okay, I got rid of 2 of my Kylie palettes, which I'm surprised about. Okay, now this is the one that's gonna be the hardest, and it is Colourpop. I do have a feeling that I'm gonna get rid of quite a few though. All right, so we'll start with Hello Kitty. Okay, these are super cute and very monochromatic. And I want to keep the Hello Kitty ones. They're definitely something that's after my like middle school, high school heart. I loved Hello Kitty and Sanrio, but I don't think I need them. They're cute. It's just, I just kept Juvia's Place monochromatic palettes. So I'm gonna make some room, and there's someone out there that will get some use out of this. And then I have Disney's Bambi. So I've got Thumper, which is a cool toned, really cute palette. I do like these shades. And then you have Flower, which is a little skunk, and hers? Flower's palette is purpley with black, and I do like that. So I'm gonna keep those 2. Roaring Hearts. This palette, neutral, after my heartstrings. This is the one that was released like inspired by the 1920s. And I love this palette. definitely reach for it, especially these two in that brown shade. I wish there was more of a champagne than a gold shimmer in here, but I still love this palette, and it is beautiful for, you know, a glam smoky eye or just something neutral. So I am going to keep that one. All right, Malibu Barbie. Ooh, see, I love these. And the shades are buttery smooth. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to keep that. I do need colorful palettes, and this definitely has some fun colors. So keeping that for now. We just talked about Rudolph. Here is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer from Colourpop. And I love this. I've got the neutrals, burgundies, pinks, some green. I'm going to keep this. And I love the little artwork on here. So I'm staying. It's staying. Lost in Wonderland. Okay, I love Alice in Wonderland. If you have seen my sleeve, you know. But I can't remember if I love this palette. I like the shades. Definitely pastel. The shimmers are beautiful. Ooh. I think for right now I'm holding on to it because of nostalgia, which is going to keep it in my collection for right now. Cabana Club. This color story, beautiful. I love this for summer. I think when I did my video with this, I actually used this teal and the pink and purple. It was a fun eyeshadow look, and then I went to the pool with my friends and they loved it. I do like that there are still some neutral shades in here, so if you wanted a colorful palette but still be able to do neutrals while you're out and about, like, this is still a pretty cohesive palette for me. I love, look at that, it's so beautiful. So I'm gonna keep this one. Nightmare Before Christmas. This was one of my favorite movies growing up. I think my mom took my sister and I was like 11 or 12, and it is PG-13, I think. But I love this movie. I do love the color story in here. It's definitely a little bit different than what I was expecting, but I like it. And I love Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. So I'm keeping it for now. And I love that, like, Sally's on the back. You have Zero. It's so cute. Okay, Kathleen Lights. I love her palettes. I actually have one of her large ones. We're not there yet. But I love her palettes that she's released with Colourpop. And she was one of the first YouTubers that I was watching. It's how I found Colourpop. But Dream Street, neutrals, I love the Pop of Coral, the greens, but this is definitely a neutral palette. I travel with this one as well as the Zodiac. This one doesn't have as many neutrals, but it's supposed to have a shade for every single horoscope. Leo is kind of like a orangey copper. I don't know how I feel about that because that's not the shade that I go for, but whatever. I do love this shade, the Libra, and then using Gemini or Cancer on the inner corner, and then Virgo to deepen it up. So I feel like I can get a neutral look as well as pops of color when I just want to have a little more fun. So these will stay in my palette, these will stay in my collection. I do love Kathleen Lights, and these palettes are gorgeous. Sweet Talk. Let's see. This is very peachy. I don't know if it's like my favorite vibe. I think I'm actually going to get rid of this one. It's pretty. It's just, I don't know that it's pretty enough to stay. I'm going to pass it on to someone else. Boudoir Noir. Neutrals, grungy shades, pressed glitter, and shimmers. I like it. Do I love it? Let me see, because I feel like there's some other palettes to compare this to. Off Melrose. See, I like this color story. And I feel like I have some similar shades in Off Melrose, more pinky than like grungy yellow. I think I'm going to keep Off Melrose and get rid of Boudoir Noir. So Very Lovely. Ooh, I love this one. So I love this shade Rose Avenue, Topanga Boulevard, Organza, Lace Up, and Fringe. I use those quite a bit. I haven't used the pops of color with the shade Macaron, which is a purple, or Eyelet, which is like a corally shade, but I feel like it could be a lot of fun with Eyelet, Topanga Boulevard, and then Fringed. So I'm gonna keep this one for right now. Wild Nothing. I feel like I just got rid of a peachy palette. I do like this, and I do like the shade Seashells, which is kind of like a minty green. I'm gonna hold on to it for right now and compare. California Love. I don't know that I'm in love with this. You've got a pressed glitter, you got 4 shimmers, some weird like orangey matte shades. I think I'm gonna get rid of this one. Just because like the shimmers, they're not as light as I would go for. Yeah, I'm gonna pass this on. Ménage à Moi. This came out at the same time as Boudoir Noir. I love this palette. The mauve shades, I'm here for it. If you've been on my channel before, you know I am like that girl that loves mauve shades, and my lighting is doing something weird with the gold packaging. But I love this color story, so I'm gonna keep it. Sauvage. I cannot pronounce that right now. This was the collaboration with Becky G. Sauvage. I love the packaging. It is so cute. And then I love the colors in here. I'm definitely keeping this. I love the teals, the burgundies, the tan brown shades. You've got gold, copper, and a champagne, as well as a really pretty cranberry shimmer. So keeping that one. Okay, I'm gonna compare these two. So this is Sweet Talk, which I just said I was decluttering, and then Wild Nothing. I feel like if I'm gonna keep a peachy palette, I should keep Sweet Talk, which is a little bit deeper, and get rid of Sweet Nothing. The shades are very light, which is fine, and I really love Seashells, but I think I should keep a peachy palette in my collection and a little bit darker of one. So I'm keeping Sweet Talk and getting rid of Wild Nothing. Bye Bye Birdie. Okay, this one is more like magenta with pops of pink, and then 2 pressed glitters, 5 shimmers, and the rest are mattes. I really like this color story. Let's see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep this one. Whatever. This palette, it reminds me, I think this was the like 90s collection, and they had all the like 90s named lipsticks. I really like this palette, and it's more of like the grungy cranberry. I'm gonna keep it for right now, especially because like you got the coppery and the gold pressed glitter. Keeping that. Good Sport. Okay, this came out like around fall time. I don't get the name of it. And then you have all the like purple and orange leopard. To me, it's weird. It's kind of weird. I do like the color story though. I love the burgundies, the grungy oranges, the purple, the greens. So this one I'm gonna keep. It just, it confuses me. Star Wars. This one's not going anywhere. This one is like purely nostalgia. I love Star Wars. I grew up watching it. Every Thanksgiving, the kids were in one of the bedrooms watching Star Wars while the parents made dinner. I love Star Wars. I do like that they have the picture of the original like Princess Leia. Just, I'm here for it. I love the color story. Very neutral shades with the pops of color. And then some of these shimmers are stunning. And they're actually super shock shadows in the palette. So I'm gonna keep that. Okay, we have both Hocus Pocus palettes. This one was the original. I love Hocus Pocus, so the palettes aren't going anywhere. I'm just purely showing you the color story, which is neutrals, burgundies, greens. Love this. The artwork of the sisters, the Sanderson sisters, like, aren't my favorite, but it is what it is. The interpretation. Gather round, sisters. And I love that the names are all in their little cauldrons. They're so cute. So I'm gonna keep that one, as well as Hocus Pocus 2. Like I said, the artwork of the sisters is so weird. And this is your Bright Vibrant palette. So I'm gonna keep this one as well. Also a comparison, like the Hocus Pocus 2 palette is actually quite a bit bigger. It's just, why? It makes it hard because I can't store them together because I like to do mine by size. It's weird. To me, it's weird. All right, we're into Disney. This was the Disney Designer Collection, one of the first Disney like releases I picked up. So this one has all the more neutral shades. You've got the shimmers all in the middle as well as in the bottom. But I reach for this all the time. I love the neutrals in here. I love the shimmers. And I love that each of them like sign their name on the inside. So keeping that one. And they're so beautiful in their like evening wear. There's also Midnight Masquerade. And in here you've got them all dressed up for the ball again. Different shades, a little bit more vibrant, colorful shades. And the shimmers, as well as pressed glitter. So pretty. Keeping that. Haunted Mansion. This is Welcome Foolish Mortals. I just picked this one up in October, I think. I love the shades in here. Have the cool tone neutrals, pops of color with the teal and the purple. This pressed shimmer, glitter, it's so beautiful. So this palette's gonna stay. And I am a Disney girly, so keeping that. Mulan, and then of course we have the villains. So another neutral palette. I love the shades in here. This one, Like a Girl, is a like chromatic shimmer. Look how stunning those are. So this one's gonna stay in my collection as well. I never did a video for this. It was during my break. I was still buying makeup, but not actually reviewing anything. I used this non-stop when I opened it. Oh my goodness, you guys. Leaning Tower of eyeshadow palettes just took out my entire left side of my beauty table. It is what it is. Let's kick it off where I left off. The Misunderstood from Disney Villains. I love the colors in here. So beautiful. The artwork is actually really interesting. I mean, it's the villains. What better way to commemorate them with all their mischievous artwork. And I do love the grungy shades in here, so I'm gonna keep this one. Fairy Well. I bought this and then I never used it. It is more of like cool tones. There's mauve pinks, brown, a tan, and then a bunch of beautiful shimmers. I do like this palette though. I just never like reviewed it on the channel. I do love the color story. Definitely something I can reach for work. So keeping that one. This one, this one is all like pressed glitters if I remember correctly. It is. And see, they're pretty, but I just don't reach for them. The 4 neon matte shades in here are stunning, but I feel like I could pass this on to a friend. They would get a lot more use out of it than I would. As much as I want to keep it, I'm just not reaching for it. So it's gone. In the Springs. See, I like this one, but I love the Cabana Club. Oh, but they kind of play off of each other because I can do the teals and the oranges. All right, I'm keeping both of them. I thought I was gonna get rid of one. Plush Like Me. Was this another 90s palette? I can't remember. Velour, Ironic, oh yeah, Slip Dress and Video Night. Those were definitely like things that we did or wore. I don't know that I'm absolutely in love with this palette or the color story though. I have a brown, tan, orangey, peachy, and cranberry. I think I'm gonna pass this one on. Pretty Please. This one is so cute. I love the cool toned mauve shades. I love the shimmers in here. I'm gonna keep this one. Troublemaker. You got the grunge shades, and I have been all about the grungy what was it? Huda Beauty just did a grungy palette. I'm gonna keep this. I'm on a roll with some of my like high school type of eyeshadow and stuff. Heavy Petal. It's pretty. It's not my favorite. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Enchanted. Ooh, see, I like the burgundies, the purples, the mauves. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that one. And then I love Sari. This was Through My Eyes. I love this palette. I love the colors in here. It is the only square palette that I have though, so it's weird when I store it, but I love this. The shades that she put in here, I adore. Look how beautiful those are. So I am gonna keep this palette. I have all my square palettes and they're upside down because in order to like read the names when stacked in my collection, I need them to be upside down. But that is all of them. Okay, By the Rose. Ooh, see, I love this color story. The pinks, the burgundies, love it. Of Quartz, cool toned. I really like this one as well. Gonna keep that one. What is it? Sprinkle a Little Magic. This is the Tinkerbell one. I love Tinkerbell. I will say when I first saw this palette, I like the pinks, but it's all green. It's predominantly green. I'm not going to get rid of it though. I do like the color story and I was able to make it work, but for someone that is not very like comfortable with makeup, this isn't necessarily a palette that they're going to reach for. And I do love the shimmers in here. Look at those. Keep that. All right, these two are the purple palettes I have. Lilac You a Lot. That one's really pretty. And then It's My Pleasure. I don't know that I need both of these. I feel like I prefer It's My Pleasure over Lilac You a Lot. So I'm gonna keep this one and get rid of this one, which is weird because I thought I was gonna keep both of them. Ooh La La. This one I did like my Mean Girls video where it was like, we wear pink on Wednesdays. Oh, I like it. It's not my favorite. And I just like, I have the two monochromatic pink from Juvia's Place. I'm gonna keep those over this one and pass this on. Main Squeeze. Ooh, I do like this color story. It's a little bit deeper. It's got the rich reds and the burgundies. So I'm gonna keep that one. Baby Got Peach. I loved this palette. It's so pretty. And I'm okay keeping this peachy palette over the one that I got rid of, which was what, Pretty Please or Sweet Nothing? I can't remember the name. So I'm gonna keep this one as well. Wild Child. I reached for this all the time when I was in Chicago. I love the deep shades in here, and this pressed glitter is stunning. Look at that. So I'm gonna keep that one. It's a very beautiful, rich chocolatey palette. Reminds me of the Juvia's, was it chocolates? Love that. Lucky Penny. I don't think I've ever used this palette. It's pretty. The coppery tan shades I think are beautiful, and the shimmers, I think I could definitely use this. But I also feel like, no, I'm gonna keep this for right now. I wanna play around with it. Going Coconuts. I need to replace the shimmer in the middle, which is Cocoa Crush. I have used the crap out of this palette, and this Super Shock shade, it's, I mean, there's still some shine, but it definitely should be replaced. I love this palette. Absolutely love it. Smoke Show. Cool toned, silvery, buttery smooth. I'm gonna keep this one. This kind of gives me The Natasha Denona Xenon palette vibes. Just if you want something a little more affordable. Blush Crush. This is kind of that sweet nothing. Where did it go? It's probably in the pile that I've dropped on the floor. I like this palette as well. I've used it a couple different times. I do like the burgundy-ish brown that's in here with the glitter, and then even this more purpley brown. So I'm gonna keep this one for right now. Nude Mood. These are like yellow toned browns, which are okay, but they're not my favorite, so I'm gonna get rid of this one. She's Got Solstice. Oh yeah, I like these pinky shades. Gonna keep that one. This was the Biddy and Colourpop collab. 2 pressed glitters and 2 shimmers, and the rest are matte. I do like the shades in here, and I have reached for like the peachy ones. So I'm gonna keep this one for right now. Glam Right. Ooh. Yep, see, I love the mauve pink shades. As soon as I see a mauve shade in a palette, it stays. Oh, the little Mandalorian palettes. These are not going anywhere. I just told you guys I like Star Wars, and I bought the Pat McGrath Star Wars palette, so this one is cool toned. I definitely need to use it. I just haven't had a chance or reach for it. But the color story is definitely, I like the pinky shade in here as well as the cool toned grays into the brown. So keeping that one as well as the Kid, which is green and peaches and browns. I'm off for it. And actually this shade right here, Right Hand Mando, kind of looks like the shade Seashells in the palette that I got rid of. So now I don't feel bad about getting rid of that palette. Lock It Down. Very purple. Oh, didn't I just get rid of a purple palette? I'll keep this one then. Bling Time. Oh, there's more peaches. Didn't I just get rid of that peach palette? Hold on. All right, so we've got Bling Time, which is peaches and browns, and you have Baby Got Peach, which, see, they look similar, but these are deeper. These are a little bit lighter. There's more browns in here. There is a orange pressed glitter and a white pressed glitter. Some champagne shades, more peachy, orange, and pinks. Yep, I'm keeping both of them. And then Making Mauves. I love this palette. I actually have used every single shade in here, including the different shimmers. I love this and I reach for it a lot. It actually stays on top of the stack, so keeping that one. The last stack from Colourpop, and these are the large palettes. All right, so we have Smokin' Hot. This one is all like the bronzy, orangey shades. And I really, see, I don't know that I'm gonna get rid of any of my large palettes. I really enjoy having the large palettes from Colourpop. And I feel like I get a lot of good use out of them. I have used quite a few of the shades. The shimmers are so pretty. Yeah, see, I'm gonna keep that. Here's the large palette. So Jay did that Kathleen Lights did with Colourpop, and hers is all like gemstone, and it's beautiful. You've got the pops of color, you got some more of the grungy tones, you got some of the light shades, pressed glitters, shimmers. I feel like this is a very cohesive palette, and if you're into neutrals, you've got that. If you're into colors, definitely have it. So I'm gonna keep this one as well. Stone Cold Fox. If you need a cool tone palette, this is it right here. And I reach for this quite a bit for work. I do like that even though there's a row of pinks, you have some of the cool toned pinky shades. Like Mystery is still a cool tone, like pinky undertone, or So Fine, which is more on the white side. But then you have the silver and you have Baby Doll. So you have different variations of light shimmers that you can use. So keeping that one. Smokin' Roses. You need a pinky tone palette. There is a shade in here. And then you even have the shades to deepen it up. Absolutely love this. And there are a lot of shimmers in here that I reach for. It's a mood. See, you got the deep, vibrant, you got some really pretty pops of color, you've got some of the grungy tones. I love, though, when you look at each of the rows, you've got the peridot greens, you've got the teals, you've got the purples, you've got the burnt orangey browns, you have the burgundy and aesthetic tone shades, and then you have the mossy brown green tones as well. So I feel like you get a little bit of everything, and each row, each corridor is pretty well curated together. Your golden. See, this one's very like summer inspired for me when it comes to like summer neutrals. I love this. I even like the swimming pool blue. You've got a pressed glitter and a shimmer, and then you've got the pops of peach and coral. I love this palette. Play It Jewel. It looks like a kaleidoscope. But you have all the jewel tone shades in here, as well as the tans and the browns to kind of deepen it up and make it a cohesive look. I love this. Keeping it. Getting fresh. I got this during, I want to say spring or summer one year. And again, you have the neutral shades, but I love the lime greens in here. And then the corally and the pink shades. I'm in love with this palette. And the very last palette. This is Rock Candy. And you got some warm tone browns, you got some cool tone shades, purples, greens, tans. I told you I was probably not getting any rid. I told you guys I was probably not getting rid of any of the large palettes from Colourpop, and I have completely talked myself out of getting rid of any of them. But you guys, we need to go ahead and count how many palettes we got rid of. Okay, and now for the count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. I'm running out of room, you guys. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62. Holy cow, you guys. 62 eyeshadow palettes gone. Oh my goodness, you guys, that took forever. It did not get done in one day. There are too many eyeshadow palettes, and when I say that, we started out with 415 eyeshadow palettes, and I only know that because I went afterwards and counted every single one of them. It was definitely something I was like, oh shoot, I should probably know how many I started with, just to have a better understanding of how many I got rid of. It may not be as many as other people think I should have gotten rid of, but I'm quite surprised that out of the 415 eyeshadow palettes I started with, I got rid of 62 in the filming of the video. Also, I set some aside so I could try them out and make sure that I was getting rid of them or keeping them based off of my previous thoughts. So you guys, this actually, like, it pains me because I loved these palettes, but when I used them again, I was just kind of like, it's time to let them go. So I am getting rid of 3 more palettes. We got rid of the Juvia's Taupes, which is beautiful. And I love this color story. But for me, it just didn't work out the way I thought it would.
it didn't look right on my skin tone. I tried to use it for work, which is what I would normally use it for, and it just didn't pop like it used to when I was a little more fair. So this is being decluttered, as well as the Bobbi Brown Molten Drama. This one I'll probably see if I have a friend who wants it, only because I have one of the shades that is shattered. But the mauve pinks and the burgundy, really beautiful. I was only keeping it for a couple shades, and to me it didn't make sense when I do know that I have those in other palettes. So that one will probably go to a friend. And then the Warrior by Juvia's, which is weird because I was like, I never get rid of my Juvia's Place palettes. This palette is quite stunning, but when I use this shade, which I love the neutral tones in here, and I love the shimmers, but for my crease I need something a little bit lighter. When I use this, it's kind of like a burnt orange butterscotch type shade to me. It didn't look right, and I wasn't a fan of it. So I feel like I should pass this on to someone else who would get better use, especially because it is a predominantly shimmery palette, which I love. But for me, this shade, even mixed with this shade, didn't tone it down like I would have liked. So that, with those 3 additional palettes being decluttered, it brings our declutter count to 65 out of 415, which I'm quite surprised about. But that was also the reason I put them on my desk, to see if I was still in love with them. This year, I am going to continue to go through my palettes, try and shop my stash a lot more than I did last year, and see if I'm still in love with my palettes as much as I remember. And we'll see what happens in our 2024 declutters. But you guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell for notifications of new videos. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Until my next video, you guys, bye. I'll see you in the next one.